Can you hear us?
I can hear you, Jim.
Good. Just checking in.
Hey y'all, I'm checking in. I don't know if y'all can hear me or not.
We can.
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Okay, good.
Hey, Bill, do I have to start with public comments?
Yes.
Oh, I do? Okay.
Hey, can I ask a question before we get started, or do we need to wait until the meeting starts? Because
Ask your question.
yeah, my question was going to be that because I have another obligation at also here in a little while, is there any way, or is it possible that I might be able to, if y'all would allow me, just to give the constable report, or is that just something that I'll wait if I have to, but I'm just curious.
Well, that's why I was asking, because I know that Beth Jones has also got a another meeting at 7. When does your meeting start?
It starts at 6:45.
6:45. Okay.
Yes.
Well, Bill, that's why I was asking if I had to start with public comments. I wanted to sort of get these other issues out of the way for the people who couldn't stay for the entire meeting.
So you can take them up out of order after public comments. Hopefully that won't take.
Okay. Well, that's what I'm going to do then. I'm going to take things out of order once we get past public comments.
Okay. Thank y'all.
Sure.
Okay.
I don't think we have everybody yet. Let me
Thank you.
identify some of the callers. Linda Fobb, are you on the line?
I am.
Okay, let me tag your name. Okay. And then we have someone calling in on a 975-8120. Could you identify yourself? Ends in 8120.
David Flores.
David. David.
Mike check. David Flores.
Okay. So Catherine, as far as the board, we have you, Lewis, and Art.
Okay. I'm not seeing Art. He's here.
He's Art, you're muted. Yeah.
Can you see me?
Oh, there you go. Okay. Well, since we have
Quorum.
yeah, since we have a quorum, we're going to go ahead. And I've got Jimmy on the line too.
Yes, here.
Okay.
Hold on, Catherine.
Mute your microphones.
Chris Rocco, are you on the line?
I'm here.
Okay, Chris is
Sorry,
here.
I was late.
All right, so we have Chris Rocco as well, Catherine. The only director I don't see so far is Jana.
Yeah, what about Infomark?
Yes, we have Christy, Mackenzie, Lee, all of them.
Okay. Okay.
Can
Okay.
you all see me, or you can just hear me?
Well, I can see you now. Okay.
Is there a song about that?
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start the meeting. Jimmy is going to be our official timekeeper. So, Linda, I'm assuming you want to make a public comment?
I do.
And which agenda items do you wish to talk about?
7, 8, and 9.
7, 8, and 9. And we also have David Flores. Did you wish to make a public comment?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you wish to talk about any specific agenda items?
Yes, ma'am. I would like to talk about Fort 4. I'd like to talk about 5. I'd like to talk about 6.
Okay.
I would like to talk about number 8, number 9. I would like to talk, let's see, about number, let's just start with that. How's that?
Okay. Is Sarah Teal on the line?
I am.
And did you want to make a public comment also?
Yes, please.
And did you want to talk about any specific agenda items?
No, just a public comment.
Okay.
Catherine, we have one other caller I haven't identified. The last 4 digits is 3968. Could you speak so we can identify you?
Yep, it's Megan Dudo.
Thanks, Megan.
Okay, Megan, were you going to make a public comment?
No, just an agenda item.
Okay. And which agenda item?
Number 3, please.
Number 3. Okay, so do we have anybody else on the line who was going to make a public comment or an agenda item?
Catherine, we have Chris Lambert on the line from Hunters Glen 1. I don't know if he wants to make any comments. Chris, do you have any comments tonight?
No comments, just listening.
Okay.
Hey,
Okay.
this is Jana. I'm not sure if you guys can hear me. I'm on another phone, so
Yes.
I'm logged in now.
Yes, we
hear
hear
you.
you. Okay, so I think we're all here. Okay, so Chris, or Bill, we've got 9 agenda items and 3 public comments. So is that 1 minute each?
Let's see, we got 1, 2, 3, 5. Actually, it's 2 minutes each.
Okay. Okay, let's go ahead and start with Linda, your public comment. And Jimmy, you're going to be our timekeeper. So Linda, say when to go.
Go.
I'm ready.
Okay.
There is
Start up.
nothing more factual than an audio or video recording. These things live on to document events and provide irrefutable evidence of everything good and evil that transpires. They are facts. Using public intimidation of me in order for you to circumvent the law is not going to work. Here are some facts. The community forum's commitment to the oversight of this MUD board and the recording of public meetings demonstrates our message of transparency. This MUD board has failed the community and squandered our tax dollars in an ongoing effort to hide the truth of their actions. They have failed the people they took an oath to serve. I want to correct something Catherine said last month, which could explain how she and Lewis have been able to run up almost $100,000 in legal fees in only 8 months in a joint effort to withhold public records. The records generated and maintained for and about this MUD district belong to the public. It's right in the name, public records. They are not yours, as you claimed last month, and there is nothing you can do to withhold them forever. You have bent over backwards to intentionally delay the release of documents at tremendous financial cost to the district. And that information I have made public on the Community Forum's Facebook page. Before next month's meeting, you will find in the transparency group all of the invoices from the 2 law firms that Catherine and Lewis used to withhold records from the public. What will be crystal clear to anyone that can read is that you have spent over $200,000 to delay or deny access to what the law says you have to release. Every member of this board is complicit because each of you have allowed this to happen.
Okay, agenda item 7.
I'm referring specifically to page 19 of tonight's bookkeeper's report. Again, almost $200,000 in legal fees you have all agreed to spend in order to withhold public records. Here are some more facts. In the past 5 months, Lewis and Catherine have incurred over $67,000 in legal fees to not release any records. Last month, 41 hours and $13,000 were invoiced by their special counsel to come up with a way to keep Sage Management from responding to open records requests. There were as many hours billed by the district's own attorney and his staff for the same effort. Everyone got in on that action. To be clear, The exact same open records requests were submitted to Lewis and Catherine on March 31st and April 15th. They have still not released the records. These requests contain nothing personal or confidential. These requests are published as submitted in the Transparency group on the Community Forum's Facebook page. Transparency does not include paying lawyers to withhold public records. When you are spending public money, the public has a right to know what you're doing with it. It's part of our oversight responsibilities. That's a fact.
Agenda item 8.
In tonight's packet is a resolution to obligate the taxpayers of this district to more bonds. This information has not been communicated to the people that are going to have to pay for your gross mismanagement of this district's revenue. That you are doing these things without informing the people you took an oath to serve is reprehensible to me. So please know I will continue to make the residents have the facts.
Agenda item 9.
All of the open records requests that the committee of Catherine and Lewis have not satisfied 5 months after receiving them need to be updated to include the requested information up to the date you finally do surrender the records, now that so much time has passed. I will submit additional requests for this public information to include everything up to the current date if you have not confirmed for me that you will willingly surrender the public information by the end of tonight's meeting. The question I have for you now is this: how much more of our tax dollars are you prepared to waste on attorney fees when it is within your control to do the right thing for the people you are here to serve? I am not going to stop performing what I see as my civic duty to provide the essential oversight necessary to help protect my neighbors from an unethical mud board and some deceitful contractors. In order for me to do that, I must see the public records. I will not take no for an answer. I am persistent, and even while greed and corruption slow my progress, true power still rests with the people. Thank you, Catherine. I'm done.
Okay. David Flores, you have a public comment?
Let me get my audio a little better here. Okay, thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is David Flores. It has been about 3 months since I I stopped coming to the meetings, unfortunately for a sad reason that I felt that I accomplished nothing. When I go to the board meetings, nothing gets done. It's just a waste of energy, a waste of time. So I am out doing what I can to help my neighbors and to be a voice for the people here in the West. And I am tired of Lewis and Catherine and the whole mud board as a whole. I would like to see them all new seats, new people, and start a fresh beginning. This COVID time has given us time to reflect and to realize what is important is our neighbors, to love thy neighbor. And so that is my oath to this neighborhood, is that I am here to serve my neighborhood every day to the rest of my life, because this is where I will die. So, ladies and gentlemen, please stand up and please vote. I am putting in my application to run for this mud board and to stand up for the people of America, to build our America. And these elected officials have failed.
Are we doing a political thing, or are we doing an agenda item?
I'm sorry. Is my time up, Art? Did somebody say time, Art? Have some respect.
Well, no, I'm
sir.
just saying, I thought it was an agenda item.
Excuse me. It's my public comment. I am not running for office right now. I am a citizen making a public comment, and you rudely interrupted me, sir. That is not appreciated. And I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, for my rude behavior and my tone of voice. But this board frustrates me to no end. And I will be relentless, and I will never stop fighting for the people. The people that build America, the people that...
Time.
Okay, agenda item 4.
I would like to stop. I don't need any more agenda items. Thanks very much.
Okay, okay. Sarah Teal, you had a public comment.
I do. Abuse of authority is something that is at the forefront of changes happening in our society at the moment. When government officials take the powers entrusted to them by the people and abuse them, artificially exaggerate them, or use them to target certain portions of people inequitably, it should be of great concern to all citizens, and people should not stand by quietly. For almost 2 years, I have been showing up to these meetings, crying out for equity and inclusion for all neighbors, and highlighting ways that members of this MUD board have demonstrably been breaking laws and abusing their power, and then using taxpayer money, and more recently, a disinformation campaign to cover up abuses that have been levied on vulnerable members of our community. Just this week, it came to my attention that members of this board have been involved in harassing an elderly neighbor over an issue that is outside of their purview according to our deed instruments. Yet another egregious abuse of their power against members of our community who don't have the financial resources or knowledge to protect themselves. Unfortunately, not one of the sitting MUD directors has pushed back against these abuses or fought to make positive changes in our neighborhood with regards to inclusion or equity. In fact, they have voted to allow our district to spend large amounts in legal fees to cover up what they themselves and their contractors have been up to. If you are a neighbor who wants something more equitable, more transparent, more fiscally responsible, more representative, and more just for our neighborhood, make sure you head to the polls or request an absentee ballot so that you can vote out 2 of the sitting board members in November. For more information on voting options, be sure to check out the community forum for WTCMUD1 on Facebook. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sarah. And Megan, you wanted to talk about agenda item 3.
Yep, that's right. At last month's meeting, we discussed the topic of tactical urbanism as one approach to exploring traffic calming options. Since then, I've been in touch with Williamson County Road and Bridge staff about pursuing a traffic calming demo project. But not surprisingly, we're probably going to have to baby step toward doing something like that in our district. I had the opportunity to meet with the Ad Hoc Traffic Safety Committee a few weeks ago, which is Catherine and Jana, as well as Beth Jones with the Anderson Mill West Neighborhood Association. And we talked about strategies for moving things incrementally forward through an initiative that we're at this point calling Play in the Mud. It is clear that at some point we will need to take these issues to the Commissioner's Court, and we're strategizing about the best time and way to do that, probably after we have some additional data in hand. Given the speaking time constraints tonight, I'm just going to keep this brief and hopefully allow Beth Jones to speak a bit more about this issue on behalf of the Neighborhood Association. And also, and I think tonight our Deputy Constable Robert is here listening to the meeting, participating in the meeting, and I'm hopeful that if possible, he'll contribute to this discussion as well. So that, because he's been extremely supportive of what we're trying to do. So that's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Megan. Okay, at this point, Chris, I'm going to give you one last opportunity if you want to make a public comment or talk about an agenda item before I close out the public comment section.
I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, at this point then, I'm going to close the public comment section of the meeting, and I'm going to go to agenda item 2, which is presentations by Anderson Mill West Neighborhood Association, Hunters Glen, HOA, Lakeline Oaks HOA, or Valentes Hills. And Beth Jones, the president of the Anderson Mill West Neighborhood Association, is on the line today. Beth, you're up.
Thank you, Catherine. Well, first there's a couple things that we want to kind of go over today. First, I think that the deed restrictions are going really well. I think it's great to see everybody working in their yards and doing some great things with COVID. Of course, it's not fun with the COVID stuff going on, but I just see so much activity right now, which I think is fantastic. I do want to, while we're talking about it right now, about the tactile urban demo project, you guys, this is really going to be great. And I know that Robert's going to talk about it some more, but this is in line with something that we can be doing right now to be able to get the communities together and allow people to create safety and keeping distance from each other. I think it's something that we can do that's proactive right now. For people that don't really know what this is, with the tactile urbanism demo project, the first thing that we're thinking about doing is actually going to Astor Pass and going there first. It's a good place to start because it has a lot of cut-through traffic, and we can get rid of some of that. Without the extra traffic and street, it's going to be a safer place. If it all goes well, then the community enjoys that experience, then we can build up on it and try some other streets as well. And once we've developed some of the comfort with this, then maybe better position ourselves for, you know, more closure demos and just try it and see how it works out. This is something that's really, in Austin, let's take that for example, you know, they're using it and they're calling it the Healthy Street Initiative, if you want to look that up, because it really is something that I hope more people look at. So that's just something to talk about a little bit, but that is something that we are moving forward on and trying to get that passed to be able to do that. The other thing that I wanted to bring up is a little bit about COVID and the 4th of July. So the 4th of July, we've made the decision because Austin has also made the choice that they are keeping things on a very low level of people interacting until August 15th. And so we are going to follow that. And this will be the first time in a long time that we're actually going to cancel the 4th of July parade. But with the numbers of COVID going up in the area right now, I can tell you that I've had 2 incidences this week with COVID. One of them just touched a door handle. I mean, this stuff is going around. It's affected my parents as of today. So it's in Cedar Park. So I think that we're making the right choice of making sure that we're trying to keep everybody safe. Now for the parks, they are being utilized. We are asking you that you please don't use the equipment because we don't have anybody that's out there that can clean it. And I know that's a bummer because I know that, you know, this past 3 months has been a long time, but please be respectful of others and, you know, go out and enjoy the weather. It's beautiful out, but also be cautious. And that's what I've got to say tonight. Thanks.
Okay.
Catherine, I'd
Yes.
like to, I think it's important for us to know that there will be people that will show up on July 4th because the word won't get out. So Beth, we're going to have to make an effort to get some people out there representing the MUD and maybe the neighborhood association to alert people when they do show up that the parade is canceled. So if they do want to proceed, there won't be a police escort. They'll be on their own. And I'm concerned about the safety repercussions of that happening. So I think we need to have some kind of initiative to make sure people know that we're canceling.
Is it possible to hang a sign in the park saying that 4th of July parade has been canceled?
We've got that mobile sign. Perhaps we could use that. What do you think?
I think that would be fantastic if we can.
Yeah, that mobile sign is a really good idea, Beth.
Yeah, I think Infomark is on this meeting. Mackenzie, could we do that?
Of course.
Wonderful. Those are the magic words.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to jump because Robert has another appointment that he needs to be in. I'm going to jump over to agenda item 6 real quick and talk where we're going to talk about the report from the security patrols. So Robert, you're up. You still here, Robert? Are you on mute?
I just unmuted. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Now we
yes.
Okay. Okay, that's great. And let me make sure that I am on there. Okay. I'm sorry, y'all. My name is Robert Tijerina, and I'm a deputy constable working for the constable's office, and I'm one of the deputies that patrols the MUD district. You know, I would like to start by reminding everybody that make sure that take a little bit of extra time at the end of the day or when you get ready to call it a day and go inside to ensure that your doors to your vehicles are closed and locked, and that everything is secured. There has been some issues involving some burglaries around the MUD, but close enough that certainly we pay really close attention to it. We've talked to Cedar Park. I've actually myself been out there patrolling the MUD when they take some of those calls, and so everybody just be really vigilant right now, I would say, to ensure that that your vehicles and everything are locked at night, and that your residences are secured as well. There hasn't been a lot of obviously because of COVID-19, there hasn't been a lot of activity to actually to talk about in the MUD. There's been everything has been really minor. I'd like to maybe just talk a little bit about what our role at the constable's office, as well as working in the MUD, and really what it's been because of COVID-19 was to assist the sheriff's office with calls and extra patrols wherever we could do them, and directed patrols just really all over the precinct, and as well as in the MUD. So we've spent some really good time in the MUD, just driving around and ensuring that everything is secure. Now, one of the things they had us doing was ensuring that things like the nearby grocery stores and the larger places were secured, and that we would walk through the stores and just ensure that everything was okay. So, but everything has been really good, and so I don't necessarily have any more to report as far as that in reference to the constable's office. Now, there had Megan mentioned something about the Safe Streets, or I'm sorry, not Safe Streets, but the Healthy Streets initiative, and on Astor Pass, and I went ahead and I discussed that with her for a bit, and I went ahead and I talked to the folks at our office, the constable's office, about that very issue, and so the conversation, I can tell you, has certainly begun as far as the constable's office being involved with the MUD, and assisting the MUD, like always. Our main goal is going to be to increase traffic safety for everyone, and to and just public safety. Ensure that everybody's safe out there, and we'll be there for you when you need us. And so I would like to maybe at a later time talk a little bit more about it, but unfortunately, as an employee of the constable's office, I'm unable to talk a little bit more about some other issues, but maybe that's something that I can take up with the board about coming on and talking, maybe getting on the agenda as a in another capacity. Anyway, and that's as much as I could say about that.
Okay, thank you, Robert. I appreciate you taking the time to be with us in our meeting. Okay, so agenda item 3 is going to be participation by the district in the traffic study related to Astor Pass and other parts of the district. So we've already been talking about this sort of in general. Do we have anything more, Jana, that we wanted to talk about this, or Mackenzie?
We still have to contact everybody on Astor Pass about what we're doing. I know we've contacted several of them, just through walking around on the street as we can when we see them, but we have to do the social distancing still,
right?
Of course, and so that's why we haven't met in little in tight groups.
Mackenzie, I know we talked earlier, we've got the speed sign that's supposedly in another part of the district, and we wanted to move it onto Astor Pass. Where are we standing with that?
So Matt Williamson did get back with me. He went out and drove Astor Pass and just didn't feel that there was a safe area to put it, but also informed me that they would be getting data back soon in that area with the little strips that go across the road.
Oh, okay.
So that was an initiative all on their own that they intended on doing, and I think it was either in the works when he emailed me or done, and they were gathering data, and he did tell me he could give me some reports on that. So hopefully once they get those reports back, we can use that to our advantage, since they are not comfortable with putting the speed sign on Astor just because it's a little too tight and they don't want it to cause any accidents.
Well, so even if somebody says, please, put it in front of my house, they're still not going to.
It's not the fact that it's somebody willing, it's the fact that the road is too narrow and there's no safe place with the amount of cars that park on the sides throughout the day, that somebody may not see it, or it may cause, an accident. He just wasn't comfortable with it.
Okay,
and
so they're not
I did stress that we had people, more than one, willing to put it in front of their house.
So are they able to put it on the boulevard and then not have, and then put cones out so that people don't park in front of it? Is that an option?
It'd be on the sidewalk too.
Yeah, I don't know that they would be comfortable with that.
Okay. So are the whatever the counters that count every little car that drives by, are they out there now? I didn't notice them last week, so.
I don't think that they are out there right now. From the sounds of it, they were previously out there and they were recently gathering data from them. So it may be something we may have missed, and he didn't necessarily specify directly on Astor. He just said in that general area. So it could be the streets coming through to it. I don't necessarily know. He just told me he would give me reporting data once they had it.
Okay.
Okay. Great. Sounds good. Thanks.
Well, that's even better than I was anticipating then, because I didn't know that they had gone ahead and done that. Okay. Okay. Agenda item 4, report from the district engineer. Herb, you're up. Are you on mute?
Yeah, you're muted, Herb.
That's generally what people prefer.
Oh, okay.
My report's in that second update, item 4, if you were looking for it. The infrastructure meeting last week, the water accountability is reported by Infomark was 108. So meter calculations are getting closer and better. I think that balances out as it goes along. The item B under the bond issue application, we've got the fire hydrant map. That evaluation's been updated. We'll have printed copies of that final map at the next infrastructure meeting. The right now, there's nothing being done specifically under that project. Right now, the work is under item C. We're in the process. Wastewater transports is coming out. They were supposed to come out today. I did not get notified that they were going to come out and do the one section of wastewater line that they had not done. And so we're going ahead. We've got some items that were noted as issues based on the reports and the videos. We're pulling those record drawings for those sections so that we can compile data and define a scope of what those repairs will be necessary. We anticipate bringing that information to the July infrastructure meeting. The streetlight map, that as well has been updated, and copies will be at the next meeting. The item E, striping of crosswalks. Our office in Infomark has discussed some of that. We haven't nailed down. I think we've got the data. We just have not gotten with Infomark's office to follow through with those specific locations so that they can work with the county to get that striping. Most of it looks like it's touched up. There's only 1 or 2 that we could probably get them to add in, but we'll be getting with Infomark at least next week and get that resolved, get that moving forward. On page 2, the Sunchase Park drainage channel maintenance. Westar is going to be back on site tomorrow. They went out there today. They went through the projects that they've got online to do. They will be getting that grading done at the channel. They're also going to be meeting with Director Zervigon and getting the final layout for the handrails at the footbridge. So that will get started. And as far as them, you can drop back down to item C. When they come out on that footbridge, when the welder comes out, he's got the material. He has not given Westar a firm date on order of current projects he has and when he's going to be able to weld that Cordis and steel up. When he does come to the site to do that work, he'll also do the replacement of those mild grade steel handrails, mild grade steel on the footbridge itself. They'll be getting that work done as well. The sidewalk, CRC, I talked to them at the beginning of last week. They were looking at the end of June. We need to do a follow-up. It'll either be the end of June or the first week of July. They'll be out to start doing the level up. Westar will be on site again when they're in the district starting tomorrow. Another item they're going to go in is to start working on the replacement sections that need to be done. We've got one issue at Tierra Blanca Cove. We're going to, hopefully if the residents, if it all works out right, the plan is Westar will remove that section of concrete. Our office will be contacting an arborist to come out, do an evaluation based on Superman eyes, mine. It looks like we're going to have to cut some roots. So we need to make sure from an arborist that can be accomplished. Based on their report, then we'll move forward with whatever recommendations need to be. That work will need to be priced. It wasn't in the original deal, but we may do some modifications somewhere else in order to accommodate, make sure we stay as close to or under budget as possible. So that takes care of the sidewalk maintenance. On the item D that's listed there, that's going to come off of our infrastructure. It was agreed last month that will just become a budget item that Infomark will plug into for future work in one of the other budget fiscal years. On the item E, Director Zervigon had brought up, he'd met with a resident that was complaining, I believe it was, about a tree that was leaning against a wall on Old Mill. They have, we went out and we looked at that. We need to do a real remove and replace section of wall in there, widen that gap. It's where there's a cutout that goes towards the house that originally went around that tree. Over the years of it growing and leaning more, if we just go in and repair that broken piece, you're going to have the issue again. So we're looking at widening that approximately 4 to 5 feet to do that. I've met with Fazone Construction. They gave me a not to exceed of 2,000 on that work to go in, redo the footer, remove all that block, put in another whole new section of CMU there as well. That all happened on Friday, which is why there's nothing in the packet as far as pricing or written proposals on that. But for a not to exceed of 2,000, that seemed like a pretty good price. I don't know if you can take action on that or if you need to wait. It's a maintenance deal. I really don't know how you want to handle that.
Bill, can I move that we approve an amount not to exceed 2,000? Would that be appropriate now?
Yes.
Okay, I move that we authorize the expenditure of not to exceed 2,000 to make alterations to the wall to accommodate the clearance of the tree. And that's on Anderson Mill near Old Mill.
I'll second that.
Okay, so I'm looking at the engineer's report, and he's also talking about something on Grist Lane. Is this the same thing?
This is the same thing. The address faces Grist. This is the fourth house down from Old Mill, and just for trying to put a location and address to it. So
okay, so we're talking about the same thing. Okay, do we have any other discussion on this issue? Okay, I'll go ahead and I'll call the vote. Louis,
Yes?
Art, you're on mute, Art. Okay.
Yes.
Jenna,
Yes.
Chris, are you on mute, Chris?
Yes.
Okay, and I vote yes too. Okay, keep going, Herb.
All righty. And then I had gotten the invoices I had neglected but prior to the meeting, but the committee has since responded to the invoicing for processing. The next item was G. We had quite a few items here on that are listed under the detention ponds. We discussed the Infomark weekly reports on the weekly inspections of those facilities. One of the things that was noted based on a site visit I had last week earlier was to go through, and they really need to start paying attention to the cattails. I've also met with Sunscape to go through specifically Anderson Mill and Castlewood ponds because there were some questions about the drip irrigations, how is some of the testing being done, what are the scopes of those testing. I've asked Sunscape for a response to all of those items listed there under G, B. I have yet to get that response, so I'm going to be back on them tomorrow. They've had plenty of time to get that response. But one of the things that we did discuss, I did discuss with them is the cattails within the Castlewood pond and reiterated all of the ponds, none of them should have cattails in them. That's part of their contract. The district's paid to have those things removed, and they need to be using whatever herbicides they need in order to ensure those don't come back.
Hey, Herb, you know, the Stavia Ridge Pond, they do it. Why don't they do it at Cashel-Wood? I don't understand. With Cashel-Wood?
Yeah, I don't know. They don't have an answer as to why. So it's been brought to their attention. So I anticipate that it will be kept on top of. They're well aware that our office is looking at this stuff as well now. So they need to be more proactive and not wait on people to point things out. Under item D on that second page, these are all the things that we discussed that as I walked with them that I saw were issues at our ponds. That's from the vines growing on the district walls, needing copies of all the irrigation testing reports and procedures. There's T-posts on trees that down in those ponds that aren't holding a tree up. The trees appear to be established. So they're going to be removing those T-posts that are not necessary. There's bubbler heads that needed to be adjusted down in there. There's also some trees. There's a couple of dead trees. I don't really see their reports in any of the other committees. And so I've heard more often than not, the board members going, hey, there's a dead tree or there's a tree under stress. And I reiterated, they're supposed to be looking at that stuff and bringing that to your attention, not waiting for you to bring it to their attention. So that's going to be a little more proactive, hopefully, as well. There were some valve boxes that were missing, the covers, and they're supposed to be replacing those. And then also a lot of the weeds are growing back on the DG trails over there. And again, that's something that they're supposed to be maintaining. There was an item for the overflow chamber that Infomark will be cleaning under their maintenance with the district. And that's again at the Castlewood. So all of these outfalls, all of these concrete structures need to be paying attention to, so that because we do know the county comes through and checks these things. So we need to be proactive and stay on top of it. There's also an issue down in that pond. I believe it's more over at Madeline Loop, where some of the trees have been replaced and they have not removed the stump. They basically cut them just above the ground. I'm going to go back and meet with them specifically on that item, because I'm under the impression those stumps should come out, not just be left there. And if they do leave them there and put in a new tree, the irrigation needs to be adjusted accordingly, which I'm not 100% that's been being done. Now, Irrigation typically hasn't been on our scope, but we're picking up on that at the request of the board. With that, I'm gonna have a discussion with them about getting some accurate mapping for these facilities. They're out there, they're doing the testing. They ought to be able to draw up something if we don't have it and be able to generalize, give us some locations of valves and controls and things of that nature. And then the last thing that kind of came up, it was one of the residents, again, I think this was with Director Zervigon, had requested, and this is a relay to the Parks Committee, Bill, that they're down at this other address, 2507 Grist. That's on the corner of Old Mill on the right-hand side facing Anderson Mill. They've got a little planting area there that is actually something that they constructed. They've got irrigation. They would like the district to look at doing something at that location landscaping wise. They'll maintain the water. They'll pay for all that and take care of that. So Catherine and Jana, that's something that I will bring a little more detail to at the Parks Committee, at the next Parks Committee meeting. And
Okay.
then, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Thanks for that. Good reminder.
Okay. And then
that's Maxine Kaplan's house, and I think you all have seen that before. It's next to her house.
Yes.
Yeah. And lastly, it was also brought up to one of the members that the over on 1706 McKenzie, that's the drainage easement where the concrete goes through there. Apparently some of that landscaping is struggling at that location. So we're going to need to get that looked at as well.
What's happening there is that the Parks Committee had plants put in between the concrete and the fence, and only about 5 or 6 of them are left. Most of them have died. So they need to be renewed. And we need drought tolerant plants, because I don't think there's any irrigation there.
Yeah, there is no irrigation up there that I'm aware of.
No.
So outside of that, unless you've got any questions.
Okay.
Let me comment that on this drip irrigation system, we put the drip irrigation system in throughout Madeline Loop and Sunchase after we wound up spending a huge amount of money when we got into that drought. And that system is really designed for 2 things. One is to help new vegetation take root, and then after it takes root, we turn it on when we get a drought. So the result is that irrigation system may not be used for years. So I was concerned that we have, number one, an understanding of where all the buffer points are, that they be checked on a regular basis, maybe every 6 months, to make sure that they're still there, and then that they be tested about once every 6 months. And so my question was, do we have a layout showing where this stuff is, and do we have some SOP for testing this stuff? And that's what Herb was referring to.
Okay. Okay.
We'll follow up and get all that. So
yeah.
All right.
I think that's it. So do we have anybody from Sunscapes on the line with us tonight? Okay.
Y'all have a wonderful evening.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Herb.
Yeah.
Okay,
Herb.
so nothing for Agenda 5, report from the district landscapes. Okay, we've already taken care of Agenda Item 6. Let's go to Agenda Item 7, report from the district manager. And who's going to go first?
Me.
Are you going to screen share?
I am.
Oh, I love it when you do that.
All right. Can everybody see?
Yes.
Is it showing you? What is it showing you?
Infomark, Apple, Janking.
Okay, perfect. I just wanted to make sure it shows up on 2 different screens. So, okay, so I know I typically go over the things for approval first, but I would like to go through our detail of our executive summary first, so I can give you guys a little detail behind those things that we are asking for approval for. So first off, we are at 108% accounted for, so we're looking good there. And as Herb kind of went over, wastewater transport had to scrub some of those reports that they gave us. We found little sections that just didn't add up with the pictures that they gave us. So we wanted to make them go back and make sure that we got all of the correct data. So they are working with Infomark and Herb's office to get that taken care of. And then for parks, so I wanted to put a little clarification. So I have spoken with Tara Klein with 4-in-1 Design, who is the landscape architect that Lewis suggested, as well as you, Catherine, for getting a park plan put together. She is working on a proposal for the district. I have reached out to one other landscape architect as well, so we can get multiple proposals in, so we can take a deeper dive into this and see which we like best and kind of critique it from there. I'll be getting with Herb as well to get some more suggestions on additional landscape architects. The Parks Committee meeting, we discussed pursuing benches for tennis courts at both Anderson Mill and Lakeline Oak. So we're working on getting quotes from a few vendors on those. We're moving forward with the replacement of the tennis court lights. This is something that we previously brought up several months ago. We decided to push it off because shortly after that, COVID happened and we closed the tennis courts and there was really no need for good lighting. And now that they are back open with a maximum capacity of 4 people per court, we are going to go forward. We'll get you guys an updated quote at the next board meeting. It's obviously not a huge rush, especially with us regressing with our COVID numbers here in Austin and Travis County. D relates to one of the items that I am asking approval for. So we discussed this at the Parks Committee meeting. Jana King, the service who does our cleaning at the Parks restrooms as well as the Lakeline Oaks building, has asked to use a hospital grade cleaner, which is a little bit higher grade of a cleaner for when they do start sanitizing and coming back to the parks regularly. Both Infomark and the Parks Committee agree that this did not need to be a permanent thing. So we are going to let them go forward with about 3 months of this and we'll reevaluate once parks and restrooms do open back up. So this is not going to take place until that happens. It is $100 additional per month. I'm going to scroll down here for a little bit. This is the document that they sent over to show what our new rate would be for those 3 months and what our old rate currently is now, which we would then go back to. So if you guys would like to make a motion for that now before I go forward, you're more than welcome.
Sure. I'll go ahead and make a motion that we accept Jana King's amended contract for an additional $100 a month for 3 months.
I'll second that.
Okay. Now, do we have any idea, Mackenzie, when we think we're gonna actually be able to start opening up our?
It all depends on, for one, we like to look at what's going on around us, City of Cedar Park, Williamson County, Travis County, as well as the governor and the stay-at-home orders. So I think almost everybody probably knows we did regress back to a stage 4, which is a no more than 10 people per, gathering. And they even highly advise people who are at higher risk to not be a part of any gatherings. And they have not added any capacities to outdoor sports yet. So,
okay, so we're not even contemplating opening up the restrooms.
Not anytime soon.
Okay.
I think City of Cedar Park still has their playscapes closed, as well as Williamson County, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't think that we're looking at it, at least not for maybe another month. Things may change. These numbers may start falling finally, hopefully, and then we can reevaluate.
So it looks like we're probably looking at August.
At minimum, I think the current stay-at-home order was already pushed until August 15th.
Okay.
So maybe at our August board meeting, we can talk about it.
Okay. Catherine or Mackenzie, so they're going to start this new hospital. What is it called?
They use a hospital grade cleaner.
Oh, that's right.
So it's a more potent cleaner to help get rid of bacteria and things that tend to sit on things longer for a few months after we do open back up. We don't necessarily see that it is necessary for it to continue on past that. We'll reevaluate and see how things are, and if we feel like it's a good plan, maybe extend it for a month or two after. But it's just a higher grade cleaner that they're going to use and sanitize.
What's the time frame for this? When are they actually going to start using this hospital?
Only once we open the restrooms back up at the parks. So this is just a preliminary. They've been begging me to get this done with the board. So I told them that I would get a pre-approval of once we give them the go-ahead that they are going to start coming back regularly, that's when the price would take effect. So probably not at least until August.
Yeah, so it's going to be August. At the earliest.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go ahead and call the vote. Jana?
Yes.
Louis,
Yes.
Art,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Okay.
Awesome. All right, let's move on. So we kind of did a soft opening for basketball courts. I don't think we put the volleyball net up just yet, but at this point, they basically, so we were doing our best to keep the basketball courts shut down with zip tying them. People were coming up and breaking the zip ties on a daily basis. So people are still using the courts. We haven't necessarily advertised that they are open just yet, especially now with numbers not increasing yet. I do think that they are allowing 4 people per court of any kind. So volleyball court, basketball court, tennis court, pickleball court. So that's kind of the advertisement from the governor and I forget the exact terminology for the document that it's called, but it's basically for outdoor sports restrictions. So we have not been taping up the basketball courts, or should I say zip tying them any longer. So that's where we are with that. We are trying to monitor this as best as we can. We've had the tennis instructors get upset that they have seen multiple people on the pickleball courts, and we can only do so much. If we know who it is and we know a name, we can definitely reach out to that person and let them know, hey, it's 4 person per court. We do have it advertised. So we are trying to keep up with that. There was a pillar broken at Anderson Mill West. I'm not sure if anyone, it was facing the elementary school. It's been hit several times before, and the pieces have always been able to kind of just been stacked back together. I think it's also been back together before. Sunscapes did come by and repair that one day when they were in the district, so that is good to go. We're pursuing fans at Anderson Mill West Pavilion. I did reach out to Ricky Harris with M&C Electric. Going to schedule a day with him next week to meet me out there and see what we can do with that, and then possibly pursue a second bid if needed. And then we are pursuing quotes from 2 different vendors to get chipped wood replenished in the fall areas at the playscapes where we do have that chipped wood. So we're working on that. Sunscapes is looking at the irrigation in the large 4 planters at Lakeline. Me and the Parks Committee definitely do not feel like the irrigation is working properly. So they will be looking into that and seeing if it's the irrigation that's the issue, or if it's the timing that is off for the plants that are in the planters, if it just needs to be more. We're also pursuing quotes for sanitizing the playscape equipment once it opens. We've already received 1 quote that I received pretty much as soon as COVID happened. They were asking if they could come out and sanitize the play equipment, and we've gone out and asked Jana King also to get us a quote on sanitizing the play equipment. So they are working on us a quote for that as well. And then the tennis pole at one of the tennis poles at the Anderson Mill West tennis courts, one of the crank poles, the crank shaft kind of part broke. And we've ordered the replacement for it. It'll be fixed either this week or next, whenever they can get the tools to get in. It's a really small contorted little box you have to work with, so the guys are going to try to get out there and take care of that. I would also like to point out, this should not say Infrastructure Committee. This was my fault. I should have changed it to Records Modernization Committee, so please forgive my oversight there. But this refers to the second item we are asking for approval of. So the approval is going to be for this total amount of $4,221.12. Excuse me. And what this is for is the Apple iPad Airs for the board members. This is going to include the Apple iPad, which is a 10.5 inch. It's not the top of the line. We'll go over how we came down to this decision, and with the Records Modernization Committee. I actually have that document here. So I presented this document to the Records Modernization Committee of these different tablets that would be a great option for this, both Samsung and Apple, so they could choose between the 2. We had this iPad Pro, we had a Samsung S6 tablet, an Apple iPad Air, as well as a Samsung S5e. The Records Modernization Committee moved to approve the Apple iPad Air mainly because it comes with a greater protection plan going forward. And the malware on Apple is presumably better and doesn't nearly get hacked as much. Not that it should be a very big issue, but you always worry about safety and security and privacy when you have a device like that, especially for a government entity. So we decided on Apple iPad Airs, and I was actually happy to find out that they reduced the price. So this $649 you see here for price for the iPad is actually lower. It's $499.99. And oh, sorry, I'll go down a little further. I have a price breakdown right here for you guys of exactly what the total cost put together, how we get to that cost, including tax and everything else. But the tablets are only going to be $499 instead of that $649. Now, Apple Care Insurance is a insurance package that comes with each device for 2 years. You renew every 2 years, and it protects the device from a number of things expanding beyond its warranty. So you drop it, it cracks, they'll replace it. I think the first time you drop it again, it cracks. I think you pay $50 instead of $300 to have the screen repaired. So it comes with a lot of added benefits, and for some reason, if you know the software starts working, they'll test it, replace it, fix it, that kind of thing. So that is what the Apple Care Insurance is. The Apple Pencil is the little stylus that that is compatible with the iPad. The Logitech keyboard and case, it's a keyboard and case all in one, and the iPad sits in it. And then obviously I would highly advise everyone get a glass screen protector, because I have learned from personal experience, dropping something with a glass screen protector, the screen protector will crack before your actual screen will, and that is much cheaper to replace. So this little cost breakdown is how we get to our total cost of $4,211.12, and we are asking for you guys to approve us to purchase that.
Catherine, if I could interrupt this for a second.
Sure.
We need to, if we're going to consider the iPads, we need to move to item 24.
That's what I was wondering. I thought maybe there might have been a specific agenda item.
Yeah, and we can take care of essentially all of the 24 items now if you want.
Okay. So, okay, so let's move to agenda item 24, report from the Records Modernization Committee. Okay, so the first one, 24A, is the iPads notebooks. Okay, so.
I have a couple of questions about the iPads.
Mm-hmm.
The Texas Association of Water Boards that uses that system. So I've had an opportunity to work with it, and it's really remarkably useful. But what I'm wondering is, you've got in here one for each board member. I believe you need to have one for the staff, not only for their use, but also to program program the units so that when the board gets them, they're already set up and programmed for each meeting. Does that make sense, Mackenzie?
But Infomark already has one. They already have iPads. Is that what you're saying? Infomark? Yes. Infomark already has one.
Yes.
Okay. So Infomark would then be able to program our iPads, and then we would have one for each board member, and they would use theirs to program. So then the next question is, what about any of our consultants? Do we need any for them? And I'm not sure that I have a good opinion about that, but I just want to ask the question. Mackenzie, you have an opinion? Jana, you have an opinion about that?
As long as they have access to Google Documents and the Google Drive, wouldn't be a big deal. And from what I know,
I agree with Jana. And I mean, I already have one myself. Christy already has one herself. So we use them religiously during board meetings as is. So like Jana said, as long as anyone has access to Google Docs, which is where all of the data would be housed, then that's all you need.
Okay, and that means, Mackenzie, that you guys in Infomark are accustomed to programming these things.
Correct, absolutely. I actually just programmed all of another district's we just purchased a few weeks ago.
Okay, okay.
And if somebody isn't quite apt to working on an iPad, Mackenzie and Lee can help us out there, because they are pros, and Christy too. So they can show us what we don't know, and including the Google Docs, because I'm not a pro at that, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Can we elaborate what we're going to use them for, the board?
Yes. So, Bill, do you want to kind of take that?
I think initially they're going to essentially allow you to access the board packets. So we've been forced during this pandemic to prepare everything and get it loaded up. It's not worked perfectly, but you see you have in your invite for the meeting, you have a bunch of attachments, and that's what we call up or we look at. the intent is to put all those things in Google Docs, all the reports of all the consultants, all the documents you're going to consider in Google Docs, and then you'll be able to go to them during the meeting and view them in lieu of having a bunch of paper in front of you or handed out to you. And I think in addition, there's the intent to have some reference documents that you could go to during the meeting as well, if you had to, such as maybe an existing rate order or other orders of the district. And I don't.
Are we going paperless? Is that the issue?
We're attempting to. That's what I'm hearing.
Let's say less paper for sure, but it's worked well on another district that Infomark has. And like I said, we've been forced to do it anyway now. We're getting better at loading up things in advance. There is still the chance, there's still going to be some paper involved at a meeting. But it's to essentially have you just go on your iPad and be able to see everything versus paper handed out to you.
Okay. I'm going to need a tote bag or something to carry all the computers that I have now.
The way we do it, Mackenzie, correct me if I'm wrong if you do it this way, but on the Texas Association of Water Boards, the way we do it is that these pads are given out when people arrive for the Board of Trustees meeting. They hand out the tablets, so you don't take them home with you. You don't carry them around. You get them at the meeting, and then you've got everything there.
So that is not how we do it in other districts. If that is how you guys would like to do it, we can definitely pursue a policy of that standard.
Well, how do you do
It's moot now
how do you do
because
it
we
now?
can't get together.
How we do it now is everyone takes home their iPads and use their iPads for district meetings, documents, etc., all via Google Drive. And what they do from there is we have folders set up for board meetings where we would then dump all of the things that apply for that board meeting. So for instance, when Bill sends out his email for this board meeting, it has all of the documents inside of it that you're going to need. But in addition to that, you'll also have a reference folder that you can go back and reference other documents during the meeting or during your subcommittee meeting. So it's not just a board member thing or board meeting thing. It's also subcommittee thing. It's also, just being able to have that at your fingertips if you need it via Google Drive on your iPad. So the housing of them is not I don't see it's necessary, because what will happen is we'll set up that folder for that board meeting and you'll get access to it in advance or whatever, and you'll just go into that folder and you'll be able to look at all of the board member documents that you're going to need for that meeting.
And you'll never have to use your own phone or your MUD phone for anything.
It'll all be in one specific device that you will have all of your board information on.
And it's all MUD owned.
Correct. It is MUD owned. And say somebody gets off the board or whatever the case may be, these are transferable. We'll get them back from you, and from our, we'll reset them and then set that up for the next person.
That sounds a lot more useful than the way we do it at AWBD. It sounds much more powerful.
Okay. So was somebody going to make a motion?
Do we have a committee person to make the motion? Jana or Chris?
Yeah, I'll make a motion. After consideration of Apple and Android hardware, the records modernization recommends iPads and Apple Care and accessories for $4,211.12.
Okay, and somebody give me a second.
I'll second.
Okay, so my question is the 4211.12, is that the reduced price?
Yes, it is.
Okay,
yes,
so
it is.
That's the reduced price. Okay. Okay, so what's our timeline here? Just in time for...
I can have them purchased and distributed before the next meeting.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. Yeah, in time for the next board meeting. Okay.
Absolutely.
Do we have any more discussion on this issue? Okay, I'll go ahead and I'll call the vote. Louis?
Yes.
Jana?
Yes.
Art?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes too. Okay. Okay, so 24B, additional contract with Imprimark for employment of part-time persons to assist in processing open records requests. Okay, so somebody talk to me about this.
I don't think there's any recommendation right now. It's been
Okay.
discussed with the committee.
No,
No
there
action.
is not yet.
Okay, 24C, procedures for digitizing district records and estimated associated costs.
Again, the committee is considering that, but I don't believe there's any action tonight.
Okay, 24D, order adopting technology use policy.
In your invite attachment for 24D is an order adopting technology use policy. And hopefully you had a chance to look at it. This was adapted from another district that Infomark works with. And it addresses use of this equipment we just approved purchase of, and limits how you use it. It confirms it's property of the district, and has other requirements in the policy. And I'd recommend we approve that now that we're going to have these iPads. We already have some phones that directors have.
Right.
Certainly cover that too. But now that we have the iPads, I think we do need to have a written policy on how they're used and what business they're used for.
Okay.
I also have the technology agreement pulled up if anybody needs to view it.
Oh,
via
good.
this.
Okay. Well, I've already scanned it, but okay. So, high level, what does it basically tell? What are we basically saying?
If you can go to Exhibit A, Mackenzie. It's after a couple pages.
Give me 1 second.
You have it up?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. So, number one, it deals with access to the technology and information. Number two deals with your accounts and credentials. And you're not allowed to share other account information, credentials, other passwords. Three, it's supposed to be just official business of the district, and personal use or campaign purposes all prohibited. Four is it's the property of the district, and any information on it is property of the district. So do not mix it with any of your personal business. Do not use this for anything personal. And then you'll protect sensitive information or privileged information. If you damage it, well, you're responsible for the safekeeping. And if you damage the technology, then we'll be looking at probably if it's intentional, or you stole it, or you intentionally put a virus in it. Obviously, you'll be responsible for that. And then don't upload any copyrighted software materials. At 7, 8 is should be obvious. Anything abusive, obscene, vulgar, threatening, harassing, damaging, illegal shouldn't be on it. Comply with the Open Meetings Act, Public Information Act. And then 10, if you fail to comply, we could suspend your access to it, revoke your accounts, and possible other disciplinary action by the board, and maybe assessment of costs, recovery of costs. And
okay,
it's basically what it is.
So this is also is extended to our phones then too.
It does, yes.
Okay.
So what we'd be looking for is a motion to approve the order as presented.
Okay.
I so move.
Okay, I need a second.
I'll second.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, do we have any more discussion on this? I'll go ahead and call the vote then. Louis?
Yes.
Jana?
Yes.
Art?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
I vote yes also. Okay. Okay, back to your report, Mackenzie.
Thank you, guys. So moving on, we're looking good across the board for total number of accounts billed at 1927. Now, I do want to note, if you look here, we are pretty high on residential consumed. I'm trying to say that basically we can attribute that to COVID-19 and everybody being home. We've seen a slight increase as months have come on.
Now, that's called a correlation for sure.
Yeah, it is. And then total gallons consumed is 14,477. Average water use per Townsville were 7,511. And then total receivables were at 235,646. Now here is your revenue by category. So we're a little high on water revenue than we were last year, and we're around the same, a little higher than we were with wastewater. And then base revenue is about the same. Total for your accounts receivable and collections reports. So here you can see we are still steady with how we've been lately. It's increasing about the same every month for your receivables. We did want to note we had 146 delinquent letters mailed out. Obviously, we did not hang any tags and we did not disconnect anybody for non-payment. And then here is your water accountability report where we are at 108%.
So how come we're above 100%? Where do we think that's coming from?
Where that comes from is the overlap in days when the master meters are read. So you get a little bit of overlap if it takes 3 to 4 days to get them all taken care of. That's where that overlap comes from. So technically you can read it as 100%, but it's actually overlapped a smidge.
Okay.
It's comparable to the fishes and the loaves.
Correct.
Well, the past several months, almost a year now, we've been doing really well.
Yes. Yeah. Well, we know that last summer where we were in the triple digits, that was definitely a meter issue.
Mm-hmm.
As long as we're close, we're in the margin of error, because a lot of this is subject to variability depending on when you read the meters, because you read them over a span of time. So you're going to get some errors creeping in. So what we're looking for is big problems.
Yeah, we had a big sine wave from 18 and 19, like the low and then the high.
Correct.
And we're back to normal again.
But that concludes my report, unless you guys have any questions.
No. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so Michael, you're up.
Michael, let me know if you need me to share for you.
Yeah, I might. I've been trying to, oh, there you go. Now stuff's popping up. Excellent. All right. I was trying to make sure I had a report that I wanted to present to you all, and it was fighting me and literally just popped up now. So thank God. Okay. So I'll start sharing in a second when my computer catches up with me. It's cycling through some stuff. But the financials, I'll share them in a second, but they were all sent out to you. Boy, this is taking forever.
It's like watching a pot boil. It takes forever.
Yeah. It's just the blue circle is just going around and around. There we go. Okay, good. Now I can get to where I want it to be. And I am sharing. And I am trying to find what I am sharing. There it is. Okay, so I'm going to share the bookkeeper's report. And of course, the first page is just hello. Page 2 is the calendar, nothing important. Page 3, tax collections. This is important. So let me scroll down a little bit. You can see I've been tracking this for the last several months that you were about 2% behind prior year's collections, which is pretty much your typical collection rate. And I was hoping that we would see some improvement this month. No, we're still about 2.5%, 2.659% behind. And so that's not terribly surprising. We've seen that there are some districts where the dislocations as a result of COVID and the economic issues have resulted in some homeowners struggling to make their regular, and businesses struggling to make their regular payments. So this may be where we're at, but there's also another piece of it, which is because of COVID, the county tax collection offices took some time off in the middle of that as they were trying to figure out how to handle the collections without having people in the office. So you could see in the collection data that there were several week gaps. So it's quite possible that this does catch up next month or so as as the counties now have a system in place, but I can't guarantee that for you. So let's move on to the next page. And
Well, let me ask a question. How many? What does, from a dollar point of view, what are we talking about?
that was exactly what I was headed to on page 4 here of the P&L. So based against budget, you're about 17,000 behind budget thus far this year. Compared to the full budget, there's 37,000 that you haven't gotten to yet. Now, and you're 17 behind budget. That if we stay at this same pace, of 2.5% behind, you're going to end up about 18 or so, maybe 20,000 behind budget. Actually, less than that. Sorry. There's very little collections at the end, so roughly a guess about 18,000 behind budget. But you're way ahead of budget on several other revenue items. Overall, you're 91,000 ahead of budget on revenue. So as frustrating as this property tax shortfall is, it's not really going to affect your bottom line at all.
Hey, Mike,
yes, go ahead.
Can I ask a question? Is there a way to get a report from the counties that would show which properties haven't paid?
Not one that I've ever pulled, but I believe that is possible. We generally don't deal at that detail, but I believe that you can request that information. So let me take a note and see. Like I said, I've never actually done it, but it does seem like it'd be useful to know if it's just one big commercial unit, or lots of smaller homeowners or a few big homeowners. It's worth knowing that.
Right. And the reason I ask is we're in an unpredictable economic situation. And if indeed it is a customer that's a larger customer that is using utility service, after the taxes are over 6 months past due, we can consider termination of water service.
I did not know that.
So we probably need to get some detail. Maybe you can work with our office if you have any difficulty, but I think we ought to get that detail from
I believe so. So I've made a note about the unpaid taxes report, and we'll see about trying to get that information for you. Okay, so moving on down to the expenses, worth noting that the water and sewer purchases, well, let's go up a little bit. You can see that from the very top of the report, that your water and sewer revenue is well above budget, 104,000 overall, and your expenses, the purchases, are 54,000 under budget. So you're doing very well on the core piece of what the district was created to do, which is to provide water and sewer service at an efficient rate. So that obviously is good. Worth noting, as always, the open records requests now have nearly doubled the budget for the entire fiscal year in 7 months. 48,000 over the whole budget. And given the fact that the rate of requests continues to increase, the likelihood that we will, that's going to taper off seems exceptionally unlikely. So we can expect to see that you're going to have an overage, well over 60,000, maybe 100,000. And I just, I think I mentioned this last month that based on your certified assessed value and the way your tax rate works, 1 penny of tax is about $60,000. So the 98,000 plus that's already been spent is more than 1.5 pennies of your tax rate. So that's tax rate that you could be in position to reduce, that you won't be able to because of the continuing barrage of open record requests. So moving on, we've discussed that before. There's nothing new to be said there.
Wow.
It is what it is. So worth noting that your total expenses before we get to the parks are within 6,000 of budget. Wow. It is what it is. In terms of the parks, as we've noted for the last several months, we didn't budget the maintenance costs on those effectively. And so across all of the parks, the maintenance expenses are a little bit high. The net total of that's under $11,000, but we'll try to do a better job of managing that as part of the budget process this new fiscal year. So the bottom line, and then of course we have all of our system maintenance, and that's really where your big bulk is. This is again the core material of what the district was created to supply: water, sewer, and drainage services. And you're 213,000 under budget on that. So putting the net bottom line, 281,000 better than budget. Again, I could try to find a way to convince myself that these numbers say that the district is not being managed well, but I can't. I'm an accountant and I have to go with the numbers. They say that you are managing your resources efficiently. So this next page just shows the graphical month by month revenue, the budget versus actuals, showing that they're close or that you're always ahead of budget. Okay, so page 7. This is the cap tracking, and last month, if you recall, we had told you that there had been a mistake by our billing department. You get 2 invoices for maintenance costs every month. One is that the district pays directly, and then another one that is against the cap. And they had swapped those. And unfortunately, it was exactly the month where the cap invoice was huge, $186,000, primarily because of the televising of the district sewer lines. So we thought
that was subcontractor costs, right?
Yes. So we had told you last month, well, that, you know, we had thought coming into it that shouldn't be an issue because there was no upcharge on it. But then we did our due diligence, double checked the invoice, and realized that there had been. And so we didn't want to charge you incorrectly. So the decision was made to reverse out everything that had been done last month. So that $186,000 that had been misbilled to the cap was now this month taken off the cap, negative $186,000, and then put as an additional invoice that is part of the check that you're paying. The $600 or so that was supposed to be the additional, supposed to be the cap last month, that was billed as additional, got swapped out and went on to the cap. And then we had an additional, another 600 or 800, whatever it is, in cap charges for this month. So that's why you see the April amount's 186,800 and the negative in May is 185,492. The difference between that is the amount from last month and the small amount from this month. So the total of that being about $1,300 between those two invoices. So we apologize for the error, but that puts us right back on track on the cap. So instead of a situation where you were going to owe us $162,000 at the end of the fiscal year, now we're looking at under $30,000 through May, and we'll see how that trends out. But the idea is that we'll be trying to be close. But so one of us will have to write a check to the other at the end of the fiscal year once we have all of the expenses for the cap trued up. Okay, so the balance sheet, I don't really have anything to discuss about these. The cash report, always worth, it's always nice to see just how much overall cash that you do have. You're in good financial position. Most of that money is in investments, earning interest. Interest rates are terrible right now, but you're getting better interest than you would, then we're trying to get you the best rates that we can find. And that's, when I get to the investments page, you can see how well we're doing against everything else. But I always like to note that even if we didn't take in any more tax money, you have enough money in debt service to make your September bond payment and still have $185,000 over. So you're in strong position to continue to do what you are financially required to do to make your bond payments. So
Now, the bond payment that's due in September, is that an interest or a principal payment?
let me go back and look at the number, and I will tell you. I'm pretty sure it's the yeah, that's principal and interest, I believe.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so the page 12, this is the investment, and I mentioned this last month, but that East-West Bank at 1.74 was a great rate, when you got it. It is so ludicrously good now that it's not funny. It's like 1.2% better than anything you can find anywhere in terms of stuff that we can get through that fits into your public funds investment requirements.
Yeah, but it's expiring next month.
Yes, sadly, but I will state that that's not too bad. Rates have absolutely cratered in March and April, but they began to rebound a little bit this past month. So it's possible that we can see a rate, certainly 0.55, maybe above that, and we'll not, my inclination is to not lock that rate in too far. Normally we like to sit out the full year, but given that rates are going to be very strange for past November until the election is done and the fallout from that occurs. I just want to warn that, I wouldn't want to be, investing right at that point. So we'll want to reinvest this to a point that gets us past that. But then I think we might be in shape to see some improved rates. I can't predict the future, though. I really have no idea what will happen financially. I can always tell you what happened before, and then be able to give you a very good reason why. But I can never, have the right reason in hand for the future. So I apologize for that, but we'll do the best forecast we can on this. So our cash balance trend showing your traditional state, the blue line, that's you build up as you get your taxes in and then draw down as the year goes on. And that's exactly what you're doing. You're trying to stay above your black line, the 6-month reserve, and we expect that will be the case. Okay, and then the operating fund forecast. I'm sorry, this is another one says that you're doing a good job. So, I apologize for that to those people who don't want to believe that. You were forecasting to have a balance at the end of the fiscal year based on your budget. This is all built in, that a little over 2 million. And right now we're projecting that it's over 2.2 million. That's you're 200,000 better than we budgeted. And that's just another way to say what we were saying about on the P&L. So, okay, so this page, this is the thing that I was working on. Ooh, unfortunately, I forgot about the redacting. Oh, darn. Okay, I made a mistake on this. When I entered this for the second PEC invoice, I entered it for the wrong amount. It is not $70.16. It was $152.39. I caught that error after I'd sent out the packet, but when I was preparing the invoices for review by the finance committee. So I made the correction at that time. And so I have an updated check register, but now I forgot that I would need to redact the customer deposit refund names. And it was taking me so long to do just the simple part of printing the report that I don't want to try that in front of you. So I was going to share my screen because I had PDF that out, but the total is, instead of the total here, of 510, 267, 24, it's 510, 349, 47. I apologize for the $82.23 error. So $82.23 error. So I made a mistake. I caught it. I am correcting it now. I apologize for the error. Okay. Moving on.
You're still on mute, Art.
Got a toggle problem. Okay. Can you give me that amount again, Mike?
Yes, of
The
course.
revised amount?
510, 349, 47.
Okay, thank you.
47, okay.
And Mike, that's attributable only to that error. There are no additional checks or anything like
That's
that.
exactly correct. Yes.
Yes.
So Catherine, you might want to entertain a motion to.
Yeah,
No.
yeah. So Art, make your motion.
Okay, I make the motion to approve $510,349.47
Okay,
in the check register.
yeah. I need a second.
I'll second.
I'll second.
Okay,
Ta-
so,
Take Chris's second.
yeah, okay. So did anybody have any questions? Hey, Mike, scroll back up to the check register.
Sure. Hang on. My thing's fighting me. There we go. So that's the bottom line. You want to see the top or?
Yeah, so was there anything unusual in the check register?
Yeah, let me, oh God. Got all this stuff on my screen jumping up. Okay. Yes, I do want to mention one invoice. Check 4067 to Aura, Carrington, and Sutcliffe. Arbitrage rebate expense for 1426.25. They assisted in that process of that we went through last month, where you approved the payment to the federal government, the IRS, for the arbitrage, that had not properly been reported years ago. So this is their invoice for the work that they did on that, and that's something that obviously you never see. That's rare. And then check 4068 to the Texas State Comptroller, the unclaimed property, total of 43,2076. That's an annual requirement that's that if you have any unclaimed property. So basically checks that have not cleared, and just walking you through the process, it's checks that haven't cleared for a year as of 3/1 of this year. So things from 3/1/19 and before. And so because, and in your district and for most MUD and WCIDs and the like, these various districts, what this is these are your customer deposit refund checks that you're sending out every month. They're usually sent to people who've been fined, who have moved out of the district. Well, they don't always give the correct address. They don't get sometimes they don't give an address at all. Quite often they give a typoed address, an incorrect address. And then also people receive these checks and they're not always for very large amounts. And so they just kind of forget about them. And they never get deposited. And so it's our responsibility to track that. And then once a year, batch them up and send them off to the state. And the requirement is that they be reported and paid by July 1st. So that's why we're doing it here in June.
Okay. So in the last year, we've had $4,300 worth of checks that we've issued that the recipients never cashed.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Let me clarify, Michael, we're only talking about deposits. It does not necessarily, if you wrote a check to a contractor, it didn't get cashed.
Right, yeah, no, none of these are contractors. If we had a situation where there was a contractor that's unpaid, that their check hasn't cleared, or we have a board member whose fees of office check hasn't cleared, we're contacting them to get that cleared up. The only ones that we're going to get to this point on are the customer deposit refunds. Yes,
Okay.
that's correct.
And the distinction, just for the board, is a deposit is not your money. That's property of the customer. And because it's property of someone else, after a certain period of time, it escheats, the word is escheats to the state.
Yes.
And the people that think they own it, they can claim it through the state. It gets it out of your account, so it's not in there indefinitely.
Okay. Okay.
And one more check that I'll mention, check 4069 to Touchstone. They were emailing their invoices to Lisa. They didn't get there. We didn't get them. They finally realized they weren't getting paid, and we finally realized that we hadn't been getting the invoices, and we got together, and this is 3 months worth of invoices, plus their invoice to review your website and give you proposals about how to improve them. So that's why it's a big number, just under 5,000. So, and we apologize. I should have, when I took over the district, I should have noticed that I was missing that invoice, but I was new and I, didn't catch it. So we got it caught up, and I apologize for that error as well.
Okay.
So.
Okay, so we've got a motion. We've got a second. I'll call the vote. Louis?
Yes.
Art?
Yes.
Jana?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
And I vote yes too. Okay.
All right, then in addition, we have the transfers for the month. Page 17 here is the tax transfer. Page 18 is the operating transfer for the checks that you're approving this meeting. And then, of course, our lovely open records request. We already know the number, almost 100,000 and growing.
Yeah, but go back though.
Okay.
It's, let me move things out of the way. So.
Yeah, 16.6 in May.
Yeah.
Not the biggest, they topped 17.3 in February, and then it slowed down a little bit because of COVID, but we're back up to full speed. So.
Right. So, so it's important to realize that this is money that is being spent to respond to the request.
Right. That's correct.
And so when Linda keeps making the assertion that we're wasting money, specifically not responding to a request, that's a fallacy. She thinks that I'm supposed to be responsible for going through boxes of records, or Louis is supposed to do that kind of stuff. That's not my job. That's what we have other people do. And this is what it costs when you submit an open records request. It is not free. It costs somebody time. Somebody is going to take time, and all the time that is, when it's done by Infomark, it means that an Infomark employee is not paying attention and doing the things that we want them to be doing, and how their time was budgeted. It means something else isn't happening. So it's a misnomer to say that we are spending money not to respond to open records requests. We're spending a lot of money to make sure that open records requests are being appropriately responded to by the experts who know what they're doing.
And part of that process involves making sure that we protect privileged information, like information relating to individuals who are customers, information which is confidential between lawyer-client. It's not simply a matter of saying, here, Linda, here's some files. And the propensity of Linda and Sarah to ask for information that is so expansive and so comprehensive, it costs money to go through it and establish that we can carefully release information without injuring some of our residents and some of our people who pay taxes.
Now, Bill, one of the things that I'm interested in understanding is I know that we're keeping track of the amount of hours that it's taking to respond to requests, and that there's legislation in place that puts a cap on how many hours we have to spend for. Where are we with that report?
So what you're referring to, the statements that we give to requesters pursuant to a prior board resolution, charges them, essentially tracks hours related to the request. And when they hit the maximum, then they'll have to pay for the hours required going forward. Unfortunately, a lot of the time that is spent working on the request, whether it be legal review or other review, is not in the category of being able to be charged to the requester. And so we have now caught up on those statements, and we're issuing them as we go forward, but no one has reached their maximum yet.
Okay.
I think it's worth also mentioning that the way the system works, if Linda Fabre reaches the limit and she would be then charged, she turns around and has her husband submit the request, and that starts the clock all over again. Same thing with
Right.
Sarah. Her husband submits a request. So they're playing a game with us on requiring us to not charge them for the great expense they're subjecting us to.
And we're at the point now where when we start going over the budget and coming up with our tax rate in September, we're literally going to be talking about how many pennies are we going to have to devote to open records requests because of Sarah Teal and Linda Fobb.
And I think that the residents who watch this afterwards should ask themselves, why does Linda want to know the make and model and history of the meter in her front yard? Is Linda trying to find out something about this resident? Getting detailed information about every meter in the system? Who else wants to know that? Nobody wants to know that. It's just a troublemaker who wants it.
Well, that's a good way of putting it. I really feel confident that the majority of the residents in our district would say that nothing of value has been discovered that would justify $200,000.
Well, Catherine,
yeah.
Catherine, I'd like to hear, maybe not right now, but eventually, Bill, to explain, and I think Linda has asked this, why we've incurred the large legal expenses, why we have to go through his office to provide the open records, and what service is he performing that can't be performed by Severn Trent. I think that would be interesting and answer a lot of the questions that have been raised.
Okay. Chris, how about if I give you a short answer now and maybe a more detailed answer later?
That would be fine. Okay. I just think it's something that maybe not just me wants to know, but I think other people might want to know.
It's a combination of things. Okay, so right now, our office is involved in open records to a much greater extent than I would even prefer. The charges are much more. We've represented the district since 2000, so we're going on 20 years, and this activity is way beyond what we've been involved in before. We've also, the board has also hired special counsel and bigger staff to assist, and the primary reason is to assist the district and our office with complex legal questions related to open records requests. And so those two functioning parts of it are not normal for any district or even our district for a long time. When you refer to the manager on fulfilling open records requests, very routine records requests could be managed by the manager. However, a lot of the requests we receive are requesting either a broad amount of information, which touches on the various areas that Lewis mentioned, perhaps confidential information, could be customer confidential information, could be attorney-client information, could be deliberative privilege information, which is the board making a consideration. And so the board has a responsibility to be sure that we're looking at all these things. Right now, Infomark does not have the knowledge or skill set to evaluate that on the legal level. So it comes through the attorneys. Doesn't necessarily have to come through us, but to get it actually right and not release information you shouldn't release, I don't see any other way right now. The other aspect is something that we've talked about in the Records Modernization Committee. This district was formed in the mid-'80s. It's very old. It predates a lot of technology. So when you determine you need to get records in the past, it is very difficult because the records are essentially paper records for the most part. They were never organized in confidential, non-confidential way. So any records request for historical records going back is more complicated. Now, what we're trying to do with the Records Modernization Committee is going forward, figure out a way to not only separate confidential information from non-confidential information, but have it in a digital form, scanned form, perhaps on the website, easily accessed. So we are looking to the future to have these documents in a form where either Infomart could just provide them or refer them to the website. So that is our goal, and it's an important goal. But right now, when a request comes in, it is a little too complicated for Infomart to handle on their own. And I don't know if Christy would have some comments on that, but that's why it's defaulted to the attorneys.
Okay, thanks.
Well, it might be worthwhile making the point. I think Christy's still on the line. Are there any other customers that you, MUD customers that you have, Bill? Are there any MUD customers that you have, Christy, that have anything?
Oh, you went mute, Louis.
I can answer his question.
Sorry, Louis.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Did you hear my question?
Yes, I understand your question. And relative to the other 150 contracts that we have throughout Texas, this is the only contract that we've had open records request to this extreme. We will occasionally have an open record request, maybe one every 2 or 3 years, but nothing like what we have in WTC.
And have you heard of such a thing in any other of the MUD districts that you talked to, Christy?
No, I haven't.
And how about you, Bill? You have a lot of MUD customers.
Yeah, for the most, well, we represent about 10 districts. Of those, only one has had any significant open records requests, and it was for a short period of time, about 5 years ago, but nothing in recent years. Now, we do get open records requests, but usually they're very simple ones to fulfill, not frequent.
And the other thing that strikes me is that the open records requests are accompanied by almost hysterical allegations of criminality. And if there is criminality going on, then it ought to be reported to the proper authorities, and we should see some kind of action. Instead, all we hear is this strident claims of illegality and criminality without anything happening that would happen if there were indeed criminality. And it really is tiring. I'm finished. I'm off the soapbox.
Okay, keep going, Michael.
Okay, so the next page is the cover page for the not to exceed amounts. And I heeded your advice that some of this stuff might be complete. And so I had a firmer grasp of what it was that Lisa was doing as each month goes by. And so I thinned out the ones that had no activity in the last year. Now, if I overthin that there's some that there's been no activity, but they're still active, let me know. And I still have the spreadsheets, they're still there. So we're down to 2, basically. The footbridge at Sunchase Park. And
so we've got, we still have
Gray Engineering's doing work. And by the way, I'm going to go ahead and ask about this invoice. I went ahead and coded it here. Infomart did work to investigate and repair a cut electrical line at the bridge for a little under $2,300. I'm assuming it's part of the bridge project, that it was a result of other things that were being done. But if that's just purely maintenance, I will reclassify it.
Well, you could consider it maintenance, but it was a damage to an electrical line that was cut in connection with the bridge construction.
That's what I thought it was, and that's why I put it here. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and you're content with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
But what I'm seeing is that the bridge still has $71,000 left in its budget.
Yes.
And what do we have left that we haven't paid for?
That I don't know.
The rail.
A little more engineering work?
We have more engineering work, and I think we have not paid the final invoice to Westar.
Okay.
Oh, okay, because I'm going,
I
man,
certainly haven't paid anything to them, so.
Okay, because I'm going, man, that's an awful lot of money, big under budget if we're at the end here.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we're going to be right at the budget, because we haven't paid them because they have to do some corrective work on those horizontal bars.
Okay.
Steel, and they have to put in the funneling structures.
Okay.
All right, so that one. So now we know our status on that. And then I realized I hadn't done anything with the beautification page here. And so I walked back through and realized what I should have put there, at least what I believe I should have put there.
Yeah.
So the 2020 tree installations, and then the trail light improvements, which I coded against Parks Plan. And then there was this, monument light at Tagama. I wasn't sure where that should be coded. Is that just a maintenance item, but is it a park maintenance item? Or I was assuming that it was some kind, fit part of a plan. So I put it here, but please tell me if I'm wrong.
Okay, I'm not sure what the monument light was. So what, Mackenzie, do you have any idea what that was?
I remember what it was. It was a light, putting up at Anderson West Park, like one of those flashing lights that tells you what's going on in the district, those like really expensive ones. That's what I'm thinking, but it was like a few years ago and we never got to it.
No, we just spent, we're
Yeah,
talking.
this is it cleared Inframark in May, so it was something that would have happened within a few months of May. And I'm not sure whether this was. Yeah, okay, I'm going to go back and pull the work order on that and then figure out what it is, but it doesn't sound like it was part of a project.
This is the one that those people were complaining that it shined in their backyard.
What was
The
it again?
Anderson Mill West light. It's on the corner near those people's house.
Okay, so we made an adjustment to a light because it was shining in their yard. Is that what I'm hearing? Okay.
So
The other
it probably wasn't a monument light. It was probably like a street light or or a park light.
Yeah.
It was a light that was shining on a sign that said Anderson Mill West.
Don't we have a task order for that one? Can't we look that up?
Yeah, we can definitely look up the work order.
Yeah. And the other thing is that the wildflower seeds, that was done last fall. So that has been done because they're planted in the fall.
Okay, I'll go figure out. It was a small amount, so it was not something when I was running through the history on the P&Ls. That's not an amount that would have jumped out to me, but now that I know that I need to look at it, I'll walk back through that and find that and apply that here.
Yeah, and haven't we, Mackenzie, haven't we dealt with the camera for the Lakeline Oaks parking lot?
Sorry, I was kept thinking I was unmuting myself, but I wasn't. We partially have. The only thing that we have left to do is, I believe, get some wiring done. We put a halt to it, I think, a while back because it wasn't necessary. We can discuss it at the next Parks Committee meeting. So it was just basically making sure that the camera that they did install would be compatible and link up to the box so that we could view.
Right, but what you're saying is we haven't spent any money on it yet.
No, we haven't.
Oh, okay, okay.
And that was the $500 for add camera at LLO parking lot. That's what we're discussing.
So,
okay.
We haven't spent the money.
So I'll be looking for that when to come through soon, but I'll get with Mackenzie when I think I see it. So, okay. So, and that's it. That's all I have.
Okay.
Good job.
So that wasn't that bad, right?
No, that wasn't bad at all. Okay.
Good job. All right, I'm gonna stop sharing.
Agenda item 8, resolution for bond reimbursement of capital expenditures.
I'm gonna share my screen on this resolution. Can you see it, Catherine?
Yes.
So this resolution was prepared by bond counsel, your law firm of Oric, Jerry Cowles, the attorney. This resolution is necessary if the district wants to preserve the option of including certain expenditures that they're making now in a potential bond issue. As you know, the district has $2 million of authorized bonded capacity unused. And we've been discussing, although we've made no commitment to issuing bonds, we've been discussing mostly through the infrastructure committee as to what possibly could be included in a bond issue. So to the extent you would issue bonds and then spend that money on improvements, that's the normal course of a bond issue. However, if you want to essentially issue bonds for money you've already spent out of your general fund and reimburse your general fund, it is required that you have this type of resolution expressing your intent to finance these expenditures. So recently, we've started spending money on the electronic meter replacement program. And so this resolution is written to cover, I'll go to Exhibit A, to cover facilities of the character which is purchase of electronic meters. And it basically states within the last 60 days and going forward, you intend to incur those expenses and you reasonably intend to reimburse yourself out of potential bond issue. We have a number of 650,000 in here. This number is approximate. It's intended to be high. It's based on the cost of replacing all the meters in the district, including installation. And it's recommended by the bond attorney that we use that amount. Christy had provided some information, we reviewed it, and we came up with this amount. So it's not mandatory that you approve this resolution, but if you want to include the money that you're spending now, potentially include the money you're spending now on electronic meters, you need to adopt this now so we don't miss this 60-day window on the money you've already started spending.
Okay.
So I think it's important to note that this preserves our option to recover funds that we might be able to recover if we issue a bond.
Right.
If we issue the bond. So the issuance of the bonds is not certain because of all the complexity we still have to go through. And we're preserving an option that we may or may not exercise, depending upon whether we issue the bonds.
Right.
So it's a double if.
Well, yeah, but it also sounds like it's sort of a no-brainer because it just all it's doing is preserving our right in the future. And if we opt not to, no harm, no foul.
Well,
so
and more than that, we're spending money that we'll need to recover. If we do a bond issue, we'll need to recover those funds because we're dipping into our reserves to cover some of this. And if we don't do the bond issue, then we'll have to restore to the reserves in some other fashion. So it's important.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, this is not costing us anything right now, right?
No, it's not cost. That's right. It's not costing anything.
Okay. My neighbors were asking me. They were trying to. They were like saying, please explain what a bond is in further detail, for us that really aren't aware of what a bond is. That's what they kept asking me, so, I just said, it's not on the agenda. This is what is happening. Please join us for the meeting. And then maybe, so.
Well, I would think that it would be important before anything goes any further to explain the advantages and disadvantages of issuing the bonds. And that probably is real simple.
Yeah, and why we have to do it.
Well, that would be part of the, advantages and disadvantages.
Yeah. And a part of what's going on, it's going on all over Texas now. Since the legislature in the last 2 sessions has made it much more difficult to annex, many MUDs across Texas face the possibility that they might never be annexed. And what that introduces then is the possibility that the aging infrastructure that you would normally expect to be the responsibility of the annexing entity when you are annexed, that may wind up falling on the MUD. So the MUD is going to have to really look at what are we going to do to deal with aging infrastructure if we're still here another 30 years or more.
Well, and that's what we're doing right now is,
yes, and we're working on a piece of it now. But if you think about it, the aging infrastructure issue is going to be an issue that's going to be with us forever because some infrastructure is aging now, but as time goes on, more will age. So this is going to be a continuing burden that we're going to have to plan for and deal with. And luckily, we have authorized unissued bonds that we can apply to that. Were we not to have that, then we would have to go through the whole process from scratch to have a vote on a bond issue.
Okay, so who wants to give the definition of a bond?
Yeah, I'll try to give a quick definition. It is an obligation issued by the district that's purchased by the bond market. So you're essentially borrowing money and providing a bond to the purchaser that says, we will pay you back at this interest rate over this number of years, and that we're pledging the district tax and revenues to that bond, the general tax and revenue bond. So once you issue it, it's an obligation of the district and you have to pay it. So it means you have to collect enough taxes to pay it. You have to keep the money on hand, like you have your interest sinking fund. You have to have money set aside to pay those bonds for the life of the bonds. So it's essentially like a loan for a governmental entity. The good news is because the bonds are tax exempt, they typically sell pretty easily, and you don't pay a lot of interest on your money versus a private corporation. So yeah, in this market, the interest's pretty good, pretty low, and a lot of districts are issuing bonds at very favorable rates. So it spends out your expenditure over a period of time. The only thing that draws attention is it is a debt. It's a debt of the district. So if you had available funds and you spent those funds and didn't incur a debt, it probably would appear to the public that you're doing the right thing if you have the money. On the other hand, if you don't have the money, or you're going to be dipping, like Lewis said, dipping into reserves, and you got large capital expenditures, those tend to lend themselves better to bonds.
And I think that Hurricane Harvey in Houston and other disasters that have occurred have really brought home to MUDs all over Texas the importance of having reserves, because some MUDs have been really strapped with respect to the obligations they had to meet from their reserves. And that's something we need to really be careful about. And Chris has been around long enough that Chris can talk about how there was a time when this MUD almost went bankrupt, when there was a failure of some of the underground water distribution system. And that was when this MUD to build up reserves to prevent that kind of risk.
Well, I would hate to miss the opportunity to issue bonds that don't require us to raise taxes, or raise them less than if we try to finance it just through regular operation revenues.
So let me just clarify, for the audience, this resolution that we're considering does not in any way approve the issuance of bonds. That is for future consideration. Right now, this just preserves the option to include these amounts should you issue bonds.
Right.
A no-brainer.
That's exactly why it's a no-brainer. Okay, so has somebody moved the resolution?
Not yet.
I'll move so.
Okay, so Art, you've made you've moved for the resolution. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we've already had an awful lot of discussion on it. Is there any more discussion that we need to have on this resolution? Okay, I'll go ahead and call the vote. Lewis?
Yes.
Art?
Yes.
Jana?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
I vote yes too. Okay. Agenda item 9, prior and pending open records request, costs incurred by district, allowable costs. I think this is where you can show your little report, Bill.
All right. So this is the chart that we prepare every month.
Right.
It shows the pending requests, which there's.
And I had a question.
Funds resolved.
Yeah. So I had a question because one of the open records requests was asking for a report from the billing and invoice prior to the board meeting. And my question was, what are the rules about releasing records that are going to be reviewed at a board meeting prior to a board meeting before the board actually gets an opportunity to review them.
Okay, so you're referring to number 6 on this list. So there's a couple things involved there. One is the timing of the documents being compiled for the Bills and Invoices Committee. The timing is very short amount of time. The packet that Michael takes to Bills and Invoices, generally I think they're meeting like the Monday before our meeting. And the information that goes in that packet is not entirely predictable because every month you have different bills, invoices, and so forth. It's a collection of information. So the information in that packet, some of which would need review prior to release. The request is that this information be provided each month after it goes to bills and invoice and before the board meeting. So those documents are ready. I mean, they're created, they exist when bills and invoices look at them, and we can review them and then provide them to the requester. However, the timing that's being requested is going to be difficult. So these are not documents like drafts or policies. These are documents that are public records. It's just that they will need some review before release.
Right, and actually that I don't have an issue about question about whether or not we're talking about something that should be released. That's not the issue. The issue that I'm saying is, wait a minute, a subcommittee is looking at something, and that's only 2 out of the 5 of us. And I have a problem with releasing something before the board has had an opportunity to actually review and look at it. That's my concern. Is shouldn't the board, because what happens if at a board meeting, we say no to something? We say no, we don't want to issue that check for whatever reason. So that's why I'm questioning the timing of it, the whole concept of prior, before the whole board has had an opportunity to look at the work product.
Well, I understand your concern, Louis or Catherine, but there is a difference between certain types of records and items that are being reviewed by committee. For example, let's say a committee is working on revisions to some rules and they haven't been brought to the board yet. We probably can protect those under a deliberative privilege. Those are things that haven't been considered by the board that you're looking at, or even proposed contracts or proposals. But what we're talking about here are actually invoices. The work's been done, it's been billed. Those become records of the district when the district receives it. So there is a distinction. I know what you're concerned about, but we really can't protect district records of that sort just because the board hadn't seen them.
Well, for me, it's not a matter of protecting them. It's a matter of, in terms of equity, that the board members can see it at the same time, but not after it's released to the public. That is to say, it seems to me reasonable to say that the board should be able to see it at least at the same time and not after it's released to the public. And we can do that easily on billings and invoice, because the billings and invoice meeting takes place before the board meets, but not very much before. And I think the time on releasing data that's allowable is 10 days. So if you could use that 10 days to make sure that the board sees the information not after the public sees it, but at least at the same time. Does that make sense?
I would suggest we explore this a little more on the committee level, because we haven't actually started releasing these on any basis yet. But there is going to be a timing issue, and the issue of how many days it takes. The 10 days is the maximum. We need to release information as soon as possible. My concern is I don't know what records exactly will be in that set of bills and invoices committee documents. So what we might end up doing is we get it from bills and invoices, we review it, and at the same time that we release it to the board, we release it to the requester, which may be what you're saying, Louis, but I don't know that it's going to be 10 days. It may be 2 days, it might be 5 days.
Exactly. My concern is that I don't think it's reasonable for the board to see it after the public sees it. If it's at the same time, I don't have a problem with that.
Okay.
I agree. I think we should do it that way as well.
Okay, I understand.
Okay.
Because we only do it one day before. We only do billing and invoices one day before the board meeting.
Correct. And I would also like to add that that document is upwards of 230 plus pages, which Bill's office then has to skim through for any sort of personal information that could be in it.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. How are you going to look at something that comes in on day one, and then respond to the request on day two? I mean, can you do that, Bill?
In most cases, probably not. What I think what Louis is saying, though, that if we release that information, that detail, that it also go to the board at the same time. So it may or may not be before the meeting.
This is putting an awful lot of stress. I mean, there's already an awful lot of spinning plates taking place, right before a board meeting. Bill, I think you sent out 3 updated meeting requests with new attachments for this meeting.
Not all my fault.
But what I'm telling you, there's an awful lot going on, and we're adding in the mix of trying to prepare for a board meeting. In the midst of it, we're adding processing an open records request. Now, it's possible that all of this can be resolved by posting it to the website very quickly, but I just think that I don't know if there's anything gained by her insisting that she has to see it prior to me seeing it. That's what I'm finding frustrating.
Well, again, Catherine, I understand we can work on it at the committee level.
Yeah, and I think we
need
to continue to do that.
Yeah, the goal would be to actually go ahead and post that information on the website for everybody to see prior to the meeting. It's just not always going to be practical because of the timing.
That's it. It's a timing issue. I totally agree with that. Okay.
So this is our chart of what's pending, and then this is our chart of what got completed since the last report.
Right, and scroll back up. So part of what's going on is it looks like everything's got has got an asterisk on it because the 10-day requirement is basically waived right now during the pandemic. Am I saying that correctly?
That's essentially correct, and that will be in effect until the administrative offices are open. And so I don't know, Christy, when are you considering to open the old mill office? Do you have a date yet?
It's really on a case-by-case basis, and right now being at stage 4 in the community, I'm not sure when the office is going to open. We're looking probably toward the end of the month, but possibly it could be August.
Okay.
I'm thinking it's going to be August.
So Catherine, what we're doing is we haven't stopped processing open records requests altogether. We are working on it, but you're right, the deadline set by statute is not running right now. Those 10 days are not running on requests. So that's what the asterisk means.
Okay.
Any other questions on this chart?
Yeah, I would point out that while we have the 10 days in abeyance, Ms. Fabre has submitting duplicate open records requests to our contractors to try to get the information that way, which has introduced another level of complexity that we saw at the last month's meeting.
Right, because just because they ask Sage for it or Infomark, it still has to come through us because we're still talking about our data. It's okay. Okay, so that was agenda item 9. Agenda item 10, district rate order. Do we have anything to discuss there?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Agenda item 11, directors elections. So we've got some resolutions or something that we have to do about that.
Yeah, I'm sharing a document that's in your packet. This is a resolution authorizing the secretary to appoint an agent to perform duties during election period. And we do this every year now. And what it basically does is authorizes Chris to appoint our office to operate as the official office for the district during the election. The alternative is Chris would have to have office hours in an office for a long period of the election. I don't think he wants to do. And so this essentially authorizes, this authorizes Chris to appoint us as agent. And so after you approve this resolution, we have documents that Chris will sign where we post notice that we're an agent, and it has our times that we're going to be available and the period of time. This is required by state statute, and the second one notice just in Spanish. So the board action really is this first resolution authorizing Chris to appoint us as agent, and I would recommend we approve that.
Hey, Chris, why don't you make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Well, no, I was thinking.
I usually do it, what he said.
Well, I was thinking Chris needed to do it because if it doesn't get made, then he's going to have office hours.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
It's in his best interest to, make sure this motion gets passed.
Well, okay. What am I supposed to say, Bill?
You move approval of the resolution as presented.
That's all, just to approve the resolution?
As presented.
Authorizing the appointment of an agent to perform duties during the election period.
Correct.
I make that motion.
Okay. Somebody may give me a second.
Second.
Okay. Is there any more discussion about this? I think we all understand what this is. What we're doing is we're setting up the process for the upcoming election.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll go ahead and call the vote. Chris?
Yes.
Jana?
Yes.
Louis?
Yes.
Art?
Yes.
And I vote yes too. Okay. Okay. Agenda item 12, report from the park.
Catherine?
Yeah. Oh, there's something.
Sorry to interrupt. We have 11B. 11B is not an action item, but
okay.
It's real important. This is the notice of deadline to file applications for place on the ballot. And this will be very important to the people listening now or the recording that wish to file an application so that they can run for the board. So this notice is posted on the website, and what it basically says is the start date is July 18. Now, July 18 is actually on a weekend, but it means that you could mail an original application starting July 18. The postmark would be no sooner than July 18. After July 18, you can either mail the application to my office or come by my office and file it in person. We have to receive an original application. This cannot be a scanned copy. A lot of documents for the election can be scanned copy, but the Secretary of State has confirmed not the application to be on the ballot. And we confirmed that in light of the virus and the shutdowns, and they said, no, it still has to be an original. So you cannot file before July 18, and you can't file after August 17. These are real important. It's essentially a 30-day window to file your application. If you file it too early, it doesn't count. If you file it too late, you're not going to be on the ballot. At the same time, and the applications are on the website. If anybody needs guidance, call our office, which is the 512-476-6604 number, 512-476-6604, and we'll guide you through the process. At the same time that you file your application for place on the ballot, you will need to file a campaign treasurer appointment form, which is required by the Ethics Commission. That is also on the website with instructions, and again, we'll help you with that. So several people have expressed interest in running for the board. This is the first step that they need to pay attention to, is this deadline. And again, it's on the website. And of course, this applies to incumbents that want to run for the board as well, not just new persons.
Okay. Anything else, Bill?
No, not unless somebody has a question on that.
Okay. Are there any questions on this? Okay. Agenda item 12, report from the Parks Committee. I'm trying to think, is there anything that we have not talked about so far, Mackenzie or Jenna?
Not that I can think of. I did want to let you guys know that your maintenance tech started painting the deck at Astor Pass Pond today, and it looks really good. But other than that, that's the
or
only thing.
staining it?
Do what?
Is he painting it or staining it?
No, we're sealing this one. So we went with a paint because staining it does not seal it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And how about the bridge at Madeline Loop? It looks like it needs attention.
It does, and it's on our list.
Okay.
It was actually on one of his park reports recently, so I put it on my list for once they can get through Astor Pass Pond and getting that one done, we'll definitely work on that one next.
And it's not just that the Madeline Loop bridge needs to be restained and sealed. I think that the
it needs
handrails
to be re-supported.
Yeah, the handrail. It seems really
loose.
sort of. It's loose. Yeah, exactly.
Shaky.
Yeah, I agree. Okay.
It's like you're in an earthquake, a little tiny earthquake as you run across it.
Okay. That's what happens when you use nails instead of screws. Who knows? Okay. Agenda item 13, report from the Deed Restriction Committee. Do we have anything to discuss, Jana or Diana? Or Jimmy or Diana?
I think we covered it all on Monday.
Okay.
We did have a night tour last night. I sent the committee the update on that.
Yeah, and one of the things I think I read it real briefly. One of the things you talked about was how much large bulk pickup didn't get picked up, right?
Yes.
Okay.
There was approximately 100 different locations on all the streets that we cover at night that had either pallets, brush, appliances, leaf bags. I reported that all to Lee this morning, and apparently they were going to pick it up today. We did not go out and confirm whether it was picked up, but I think Waste Management contacted Mackenzie and let her know that they had picked it up by 9 o'clock.
That is correct. So we did receive an email last night at 7:31 p.m. from them letting us know that they were not able to complete bulk pickup. They did not give a reason why, but they did ensure us that they would be out first thing in the morning and they would send an email when it was complete. And an email came in right at 9:15 a.m. this morning letting us know that they completed it.
Okay. Glad to know that that was taken. That has been taken.
Yeah, I verified that too. There was a lot of bulk trash in my neighborhood, and it's all picked up today.
Okay. Okay, so let's just run through the DRC part. So we don't have any issues with pending appeals.
Nope.
We don't have any issues with rules governing the violations. We don't have any minutes to approve, correct, Bill?
We already approved those on Monday.
Okay. Let's see. Do we have anything to talk about? Lawsuits? Anything else happen about that?
Just a quick update. The 2700 Tierra Blanco, the owner has been served. We have not received a response, but they've been served with citation, which means the deadline for filing an answer has started to run.
And how long is that? 2 weeks?
Basically 3 weeks. It's 20 days, and then you go to the next Monday after 20 days.
Got it. Okay. Okay, we don't have anything about funding for interaction with the neighborhood associations and the HOAs. And everything's working fine between between Sage and the district. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay, agenda item 14, report from the investment committee.
We don't have anything to report.
Okay.
Unless Chris something I don't know.
No, nothing to report.
Okay. Report from the audit committee.
Again, nothing.
Okay. Report from the bills and invoices committee. We've already gone through the not to exceed authorization.
Yeah, we went through everything.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And 17, report from the budget committee. So now we're sort of getting into the front end of budget season.
Right. And so I'm assuming Mackenzie will be organizing a budget meeting with the budget committee so that we'll have a first draft budget for your next board meeting in July. And of course, we'll want all of the wish lists from the various departments and committees. Feel free to pile on, and then you'll have to all decide what you're not going to do. But we're ready to start this process. And I've already seen some things that we didn't budget as effectively as we could have last year. So we'll be, I'm already working on making sure that I take into consideration some factors that didn't quite fit in the budget last year. So.
Okay. Okay, report from customer care committee. Answers to prior questions from residents. Do you have anything to add, Louis?
I'd like to add that we are still receiving more information that's been going to Bill, and information that's been collected by the Sagnesses relative to the lady in section 1 that where the neighbors feel that she has been harassing them. That's Deborah Dahl. And
Okay.
it's something we're going to have to address, because what we've got is instead of her reporting to the police or reporting to us, she's trying to, in effect, be a vigilante. She's out chastising neighbors for perceived violations of deed restrictions or laws when she should be reporting them to us. And I understood she was going to come on to one of our meetings. She did not come on to the deed restriction meeting, and she did not appear today. But at some point, we're going to have to talk to her, I think.
Okay.
Louis,
Yeah.
can I interject something on it? Kind of
Sure.
a month. I did receive a call from Deborah Dahl. She left a voicemail early Saturday morning, and I talked to her Monday. And she did not reference the anonymous letters, but she wanted to talk about her complaint related to a large trailer in the street. I explained to her the process of how we work on reports, and that some of these reports will not be deed restriction violations, that will not be able to be handled by the board. Some will be law enforcement issues. And I explained the process to her, and she seemed to understand it. She asked me how she could participate in the meetings, and I directed her to the website where the agendas are posted, where there's login information. Subsequent to that conversation, she did send me a couple emails, which I forwarded to the DRC, primarily related to the large trailer at that property, but I have not received anything since then.
One of the problems we have is that she lives in section 1, and we have very limited authority in section 1 relative to that kind of situation. And it even got to the point where I think she suggested to somebody, the Sagnes, is that whether or not we had authority, we should have the trailer removed because it was ethically incorrect for it to be there. And we just don't do that. We don't operate outside of the law. So there's a basic misunderstanding of what we can do and what we can't do, and what she can do and can't do.
So perhaps she'll attend a meeting or have further communication with us.
Yeah.
Okay. Agenda item 18B, online postings, inaccurate or misleading site names. I don't have anything to contribute. Did you have something, Louis?
I don't have anything more to add than I added at the meeting Monday.
Okay. Agenda item 19, video recording of board meetings by the district, editing, timestamping of videos from remote access meetings.
I'd like to point out that we're getting a much better turnaround now than we were getting before. The Monday meetings, the video was sent to Lee to post on yesterday afternoon. So that's a very quick turnaround.
Okay,
Yeah.
that is great.
Yeah.
Okay, agenda item 20, report from the Information Management Committee. The website.
Okay, so
Okay, Louis, you start, because
Yeah.
I'm dealing with a tiny phone and another tiny phone over here. So
Yeah. Okay, so as everyone will recall, the board authorized an audit of our website, and what part of what triggered this was that we're using a website architecture that has limitations that we're running up against, and we're looking at the problem that we're going to have to do something to use a different platform, and so we asked the Touchstone people to do an audit, and they did. And we got their report, and we had a proposal from them to redesign our website and host it. And we had that proposal before. And what we asked them to do as a committee is we asked them to add to the scope of work the results of the audit. And they have done that, so that the proposal that we have from them now has an added section which reads as follows: the scope of work. As a result of Exhibit A5, which is the audit, there was a report produced with a number of suggested upgrades and changes to the existing district website. If approved, the scope of work for redesigning and updating the district website would follow the website review report as a guideline and checklist to complete the work outlined in that proposal. And we reviewed it with them. The proposed cost for this is the setup cost is $3,400, and there is a monthly cost of $200. They have discounted that for us since we do other business with them, so that the setup cost, instead of being $3,500, will be $2,000, but the monthly cost will be $200. So Jan and I, as a committee, urge the board to approve this contract. It's really not a contract, it's an amendment to their existing contract, adding this service. So I'd like to move that we approve the proposal for adding this service as Exhibit A3 to the existing agreement at a cost of, I just said it, a cost of $2,000 to set up the website, and monthly cost of $200. And there will be a transition from what we do now to this. And I'm understanding that Lee will have to be involved in that, since Lee has done an enormous job. And also, let me add that Lee would still be involved, very involved. That we're not just giving up the running of the website. Lee will still be very involved. Lee, do you want to? That's my motion. Let's get a second, and then we can pass.
I'll second.
Okay. Okay. So now let's talk about it. So you were about to ask if Lee was on and ask her a question?
If Lee is on, I know Lee has been working with them, and Lee has been running our website. And Lee, would you like to make any comment about this?
I think the Wix website has been good up until now, but as we keep adding documents and more content to the website, it gets a little more difficult to manage. I think Touchstone had some really good feedback on some issues that we do have with the website, and I think they will be able to give it a definitely more professional, more organized feel, and I think it'll be a lot more easier to navigate for us and for residents both. So I think this is a good move.
And I'd like to add also that one of the obligations we have as a public body is that we have requirements for archiving things and for having things available for open records requests. And they are accustomed to and do this kind of thing, in that they do websites and manage them for other public bodies. So that's another plus that they bring to the table.
I've got a question. Do we have any idea how long in the future this fix is gonna last? Is it gonna take us a couple years, 3 years? Do we have any idea? You know, when
the impression I'm
look
getting,
at this as a Band-Aid.
Yeah.
Are we ever going to have to do a whole new website, and like when?
So as I appreciate it, because I was concerned about the same thing, as I appreciate it, the system they're going to use is a much more robust system, and it would not have any limitations for us. So we would go into any foreseeable future with this system. So it's not a Band-Aid in that sense. It's a whole new platform that would not we would not be running up against limitations in the foreseeable future.
Okay.
Well, what I'm hearing you say is that we're talking about moving to a platform that it scales much bigger than,
Exactly.
and so Wix was really great, 5 years ago when we didn't have very much on it. But now that the volume of documents that we're starting to attach, we need to have something bigger. The one thing I wanted to, Lee, write this down. The Williamson County tax appraiser links back to our website. So when you are at the appraisal district and you link and you go click on your property and you go see who all you're paying taxes to, one of those links comes directly back to one of our websites. It comes back to our website, and we inadvertently broke it a few years ago. So when we redo everything, let's make sure that that link continues to exist and it doesn't get broken.
The other thing that's worth mentioning is that we'll be working on the Facebook page shortly, and there's going to be all sorts of linkages between our website and the Facebook page.
Louis, is that part of the services?
Yes.
The service contract?
Yes.
Okay. And any enhancements or any documents that we add to the website, is it an additional charge, or is it part of the agreement too?
The $200 a month cost contemplates whatever documents we want to add on a regular basis. The setup cost would set it up with all the documents we now have, and then we would go forward on the $200 a month, adding documents as needed.
Mm-hmm.
And the audit document gives you a good feel for the changes that they're suggesting.
Okay, so we've had a motion and a second. So do we have, let me go ahead and call the vote. Louis?
Yes.
Jana?
Yes.
Art?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes too. Okay, so we've already touched on, let's talk about the Facebook page. So is this just something that's going to be done after the website has been redesigned, or are they going to run in parallel? Do you know?
Jana, correct me if I'm wrong, but we approved the inception of the Facebook activity at a previous meeting, and the signature process got hung up on the COVID problems we had. So we haven't gotten the signed document back to them, but we're in the process of doing that. So what you're going to see is the Facebook page deployed at the same time that the website is being deployed. And there will be interactions, but they'll be going on at the same time. They'll be deployed.
The Facebook page, yeah, it'll be, if not like a couple of days before the website, but it'll be really close to one another. So.
Yeah. Okay, 20D, communications policy.
Well, let me kind of weave these together under 20. So 20C was the audit, which you guys have. That was the audit of the website. Does not require board approval.
Right.
A communications policy is something that we need. It's not ready for approval. The Facebook site, however, is going to start off just being informational, one-way communication. As we progress to allow residents to interface with it, we will need the communications policy. It's a little bit complex, so I don't have it ready today, but we will need to approve that perhaps next meeting. And then 20E is the proposal you just approved for the additional services on the website.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is that 20D is going to come back next month probably for more discussion, because it's my understanding that because we're a governmental entity, we have much more regulation that we have to follow as it relates to our Facebook page, which is hence the need for the communication policy.
That's definitely part of it. Part of it is also regulating what people provide to us on the Facebook as to content and so forth. Some rules of the road, for
Rules of conduct, is that what you're saying?
There's some of that in it, yes.
Okay. Okay. Okay, agenda item 21, report from the Infrastructure Committee. Is there anything that we have not discussed so far?
I think
I think
Herb
we
covered all of it.
Yeah, I think we covered all of it. I don't know
Yeah.
if Lewis has anything, but I don't
No,
know.
I think we covered it all.
Okay. Agenda item 22, report from the Management Committee. Do we have anything?
I don't have any updates.
Okay. 23, report from the Solid Waste Committee.
I don't think we've got anything right now.
Okay.
I would like to add one thing. It was mentioned at the last board meeting that we wanted to get together to do another bulk trash pickup. Where we
Yes.
bring the cans out. So I have reached out to Waste Management. I have not heard back just yet, but just checking their availability and seeing what they have available in the next upcoming weekends. We look to hopefully get that scheduled soon and have the dumpsters brought out to Lakeline.
Okay, great.
And I'd like to add something on the Solid Waste Committee. We have a situation right now where we have a lot of people in the community that are very unhappy with the service we've been getting in terms of stuff not being picked up. Today, we had a case where they notified us that they had failed to pick up and they came back and picked up. But we've had many, many days when they failed to pick up, they don't tell us a thing. And people leave the garbage out, the trash out for a week, waiting for it to be picked up because they keep thinking it'll come the next day. And we're not getting feedback. So one of the things I think that the Waste Committee needs to look at is what should we be doing to lay the groundwork to put down a marker here to tell Waste Management that under the contract, if we tell them that they are not doing the things they ought to do, then they have a certain amount of time to cure their deficiencies, or we can go to a different contractor. And what concerns me is if we define a deficiency as they didn't pick up street A and they didn't pick up street B, but then street A gets picked up next week, does that cure the deficiency? Rather, what I'd like for us to look at is defining a deficiency of not picking up the entire district, irrespective of what goes on by detail. Unless they pick up the entire district as scheduled, then there's a deficiency.
Yeah.
And so I'd like to urge the Solid Waste Committee to maybe work with Flickinger to see what we can do to come up with the language we would need, because this problem is very serious. A lot of people are very upset, and I know that the COVID situation complicates things for them, but it also complicates things for our residents who at least deserve to know that when the garbage isn't picked up, that the error will be corrected. Like today, they told us it'll be corrected the next morning, and it was. Well, we don't usually get that. So
Right.
I would urge the Solid Waste Committee to take a real serious look at this.
Hey, Lewis, one of the
Yeah.
things I was talking to Mackenzie about this, we spoke about it this week, is kind of define the reporting, because it's all over the place. You know, I asked Lee, I asked Mackenzie, you know, how many reports they've received, and then there's an anomaly of who gets the reports and how they're reported. So I want to get that straightened out. I think that's one of the elements we need to get organized in order to collect the facts, basically.
So correct me if I'm wrong, Lee, as I understand it, under the contract, Lee is the person who reports deficiencies to Waste Management. And those deficiencies come in various ways. You have individual residents calling and complaining, but you also have the SAGE people in connection with their tours. They will come up with larger patterns. An entire street isn't picked up. You get a call from a resident, the resident says they didn't pick me up. But SAGE is able to submit information to Lee that an entire street wasn't picked up, or a number of streets weren't picked up, and which streets they were. And as I understand it, that information is going to Waste Management. I think what has to happen is that in addition to sending it to Waste Management, I think that the Solid Waste Committee needs to get some kind of report so that you can take a look at perhaps pursuing some of the remedies I suggested. And I don't know whether you're getting that stuff or not, but Lee is probably keeping track of this stuff, so she can probably furnish you with that kind of history. Lee, you want to comment?
Well, it's a little difficult sometimes because I think we do have a little bit of a disconnect between what Sage is reporting and what I hear. A lot of the issues that they mentioned have never come to me. None of these people have ever contacted us. As far as actual complaints, for example, where trash hasn't been picked up or where recycling hasn't been picked up where it should have been, or where a container hasn't been replaced when it was supposed to be, we've had and relatively few of those actual complaints. Now, a lot of the pictures that Sage sends, there's a difference between the recycling bins, which have the yellow tops, and the trash carts that are green. A lot of the pictures that they send are the recycling carts that are out on the wrong weeks that aren't being picked up. There are some trash containers in between, but like I said, unless people contact me directly, I don't have the information to be able to send it to Waste Management. And I personally am not receiving the complaints, I guess, and the volume that you all are getting pictures
That we're
of.
here, that or what we're hearing. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and to that end, Louis, I mean, I think Mackenzie and I spoke about it, and I think in May, Mackenzie, correct me if I'm wrong, they only had 2 complaints that were formally filed with Lee,
So
and it's 4 in April.
Lee does keep a log of anything that does come directly to her, and I asked her to send it over to me, and I've actually sent it out to the Solid Waste Committee. And of that log, I think we average about 4 a month at most. And when reporting those, they go to Waste Management, they let us know they've created a ticket, and they'll take care of it. Now, with that, I think in March we saw our spike of complaints, and then after that, it's fizzled out again. And I'm assuming
So-
that's because a lot of people were home and, just able to notice these things.
So
more often.
I'd like to make a couple of points here. First of all, Catherine and I have really gone into this because it shows up in the deed restriction enforcement process. And what I told Sage was that they have the schedule for pickup of the recycling. And if they have photographs showing recycle bins and the garbage bins out, and it's like Thursday and the garbage was supposed to be picked up on Monday, then irrespective of whether that was a recycle pickup week or not, there's a violation, there's a problem because the garbage wasn't picked up. If there's a recycle out on Thursday and the Monday date was not a recycle pickup, then that's not a problem. That's an error by the resident. So what I suggested to Sage was that I wanted to see the information going in to Lee for the situations they detected, which in fact were a deficiency. And that would be a case where it's Wednesday or it's Thursday and the trash has not been picked up, irrespective of whether there's a recycle out there. If there is a recycle out there, then they have to determine, and they have the ability to do so, whether that recycle should have been picked up on Monday. So they've agreed that they will dedicate themselves to doing that. The second point I want to make is that I don't understand why the sightings by Sage Management are any less legitimate than complaints from residents, because we are paying Sage to enforce deed restrictions. And one of the violations we have is people not taking the garbage cans in and people not taking the recycles in that were not even scheduled for pickup. Well, it complicates things for them if Waste Management is not doing their job. And what I'm hearing from you, Lee, and from Mackenzie, is that there seems to be less credence from violation reports that come from Sage. And I would suggest to you that they are just as valid as a complaint coming in from a resident, because they're actually seeing it and photographing it, and they're getting an overall view. Whereas when a resident calls, for each resident that calls, you might have 10 or 15 residents who choose not to call. So I think we have to respect the information that comes in from Sage in this.
Louis, Sage is not reporting what they see to Lee, period. Lee won't say that, but they're not getting that information.
They are
Sage
not.
is also not reporting. Sage is also not reporting when the things out there are hazardous waste, things that contain Freon, TVs that can't be put out. They're not reporting. They're not, and we haven't asked them to. Okay, I think the bigger issue is when Waste Management does not pick up on the day they're supposed to pick up, they should have a definite plan to either tell us when they are going to pick it up, and it should be the next day, but we shouldn't have to keep track of what's not getting picked up.
Oh, I totally agree with that one.
I don't remember seeing that in the contract.
Yeah, but
You know, you call us and tell us when we've missed picking up your trash.
yeah, but Chris, you're absolutely right. But remember, if people are putting hazardous stuff out that's not going to be picked up, that's not a waste management issue. That's a violation by the resident. And
that's exactly right.
And Sage should handle that as a violation. If it's a if it's a TV set or something like that you know they're not going to pick up, that shouldn't go to Lee. It should be handled as a deed restriction violation. And what I understand now, as a result of, we've had some pretty intense conversations with Sage involving Catherine and myself. What we've asked them to do is to report to Lee these patterns that they're seeing, but to first filter them to make sure that what they're reporting is in the category of a failure by waste management. So if it's a recycle bin that's out on Thursday and recycling wasn't scheduled to be picked up that week, that information shouldn't go to Lee, because that's not a waste management problem. That's a resident issue, and they should get with the resident through the deed restriction process.
That's exactly what I was trying to lead to. We have to distinguish what is the resident's error or what is waste management's inefficiency to pick up.
Yeah.
And Chris, why don't we do this? Why don't we meet with Lee and Sage and kind of get some kind of reporting format nailed down, so then that way we can have some true reporting on what's really happening. You know,
I would like that. I would like to see that very much, because they're basically deed restriction enforcement, and so we're now asking them to report stuff which, strictly speaking, is not deed restriction enforcement. It's garbage, waste collection, satisfaction of their obligations. That's not deed restriction enforcement. We're asking them to report that. So maybe you could meet with them and talk about how that should be done in a way that you think would work, and maybe get Lee involved in that conversation, because that's outside of deed restriction enforcement, you know?
Louis, can I say something real quick?
Certainly.
Okay. I do try and communicate with Lee when we see a lot of trash cans out. For a period there, we were asked to just, before the COVID, we were asked to track how many trash cans were out, and I was listing them, and I provided those to legal. Then we stopped, and in March, we started seeing the trash cans out again, and Catherine went out on a night drive, and she witnessed all the cans that were out, and that's when we started keeping track of how many cans were out there. When we start asking people during the day tours about their trash cans, they are very frustrated because they say that they put it out on both weeks because it's not getting picked up on their assigned week. So they're just tired of trying to figure out when is it going to get picked up. So they take it out every single week, hoping that it'll get picked up sometime. And that's
only fair.
That is their words, not our words. The other thing I want to say is, for some reason, they see us driving around and they think that we're the person to call, and they will call us and report it to us. If their can is broken or any issue that they have, or they see it on the website, the number is clearly on the website, but they will call Sage sometimes, and Lee has no control over that. I mean, it's
and I agree. And we really can't, Diana, we can't tell our residents, you know, we want them to have a good relationship with you, and we can't tell them, oh, don't tell Sage about your trash problems. You're supposed to do this. I mean, it's human nature. I mean, if you've got any kind of relationship with the resident, they're going to talk to you. I mean, I understand that completely.
And that's part of what we've always wanted to do, is build a positive relationship with
I understand that completely.
You know, I just don't want it to seem like, oh, we're not giving that information to Lee, or Lee's not getting it. I mean, the problem is the trash cans aren't getting picked up, and the bulk pickup isn't getting picked up. and the residents aren't reporting it because they're tired of reporting it.
Art had a great idea. We need to work on some type of report that addresses the issues from both standpoints, from Infomark, from us, and from Waste Management. That way the information is gathered and properly utilized. Right now, we've got a bunch of information that isn't getting to the proper place. It's just missing the mark. And
that's what I want to do. I want to figure out how we can get some good reporting, because that's critical to the performance of Waste Management, you know?
Right.
To critique their performance, that is.
And we understand that that's something that we're not contracted to do, but we're willing to do whatever you all need us to do to help the community, because that's what we joined up with y'all, to build positive relationships with your residents.
Look, I think we have an advantage. The manager over all the residential section, he got elected to the Kyle City Council. So he now has the same problem that we do about trash pickup, and is a lot more understanding of what we're complaining about. So I'll go back to what I said originally. I don't think it's our responsibility to tell them what they missed. They're going to miss something occasionally. And I guess the question is, what is occasionally? How much is acceptable? And how do they get the information? Are we really supposed to go out there and follow up on them to find out what they missed?
Don't you think they know?
I don't remember seeing that in the contract.
Don't you think they know what streets they didn't catch?
I think the drivers know sometimes. I don't think that unless they're at the end of the day and their truck is full and they don't want to drive all the way back out here for one load, I think they really do miss stuff. I really think they do. Now, I don't think they should, and I think that there should be some sort of oversight to see how bad the problem really is.
So Chris, let me make a point, because you're making some good points. But if you take a look at how this thing is happening, we're not asking Sage, nor is Sage going out looking for failure to pick up trash. They're making their normal runs looking for deed restriction violations. In the course of doing that, they come across this situation. And many of these cases, it's not a deed restriction issue, it's a waste management issue, but they're documenting it. So the reason I would really like for you and Art to get together with Sage is that, since this is outside of their normal contract, but they are seeing all this, it would make sense for you to work out a reporting system from them that would minimize the toil that they have to face. For example, they've been taking photographs of a lot of these conditions. Well, that takes an effort. You have to take the photographs and you have to print them and so on. Maybe you guys could come up with Sage with some simplified way that they could get the information in to Waste Management, whether it's through Lee or directly. But what I want to make sure we do is that we have a formal contractual arrangement with Waste, and I want to handle it in a formal way. I don't want to handle it by somebody calling them up and saying, hey, you missed this pickup. I'd like to be able to have it all handled through documentation in a formal fashion, whether that comes from Lee or it comes from Mackenzie or whoever. But it would be wonderful if you guys with the committee, the solid waste committee, could work that out with Sage.
Yeah, I agree. And
I agree.
I'll get a meeting on the books for all of us to sit down and talk about this. Art, Chris, Sage, me, Lee, myself. So that way we can discuss this. I'll see if we have availability, maybe next week or the week after.
Okay, and one of the agenda items should be to kind of re-examine this issue of who reports these problems to Waste Management and how is it reported.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we have to come down with a process that has that's accurate
and it's formal.
Formal, accurate, and then on top of that, we have to have like Mackenzie tell me that sometimes they call Waste Management and they issue a ticket and they resolve the issue right there and then. well, is that the way we want to do things going forward? You know, those kinds of things.
Yeah.
You know?
And I
So,
think
okay.
what we've heard tonight, we've heard Diana describe how so many people, so many residents are so frustrated, they quit calling complaints. And that may be one of the reasons you're not getting them. But I know from being on the street, from walking my dog, from talking to people, that there's a lot of frustration out there. I don't have to have Jimmy Sagnas tell me that, but they're seeing the same thing throughout the district.
Okay.
Okay, is there anything more?
No.
Okay, agenda item 24, we've already handled. Agenda item 25, service provider vendor evaluations. Have we moved on that one?
We have not moved on it. I am going through them though.
Okay, great. Glad to hear it.
Catherine, if I could interrupt briefly.
Sure.
Mackenzie and the management committee, I'd like our law firm to be evaluated, and given your schedule whenever you can. We're on the list of people, vendors, service providers that would be evaluated. We have, we are preparing a new engagement letter. The last time we changed our rates was 6 years ago, and we now have this new issue of direct request to vendors. None of the other vendors have actually acted on that notice yet. I've talked to some of them. They haven't submitted other contracts, but I think it's time for our firm to submit something probably next month. So if there's time for the management committee, which is Art and Chris and Mackenzie, to get with me, I'd really appreciate that this month.
Of course.
Okay. Okay, agenda item 26, traffic hazards in districts. Do we have anything to discuss?
We've had that as a placeholder, and I'm looking forward to that item being folded into the initiative that Megan is working on with the.
Oh, yes, yes, I
because
agree.
It's important. It's important.
Yes. Okay, agreements with agenda item 27, agreements with Williamson and Travis counties for solar speed signs, stop sign, insulation, etc. What have you got for me, Bill?
Well, I'd like to say that we have a final agreement with Travis County. What happened recently was the person that was working with us assigned the project to another person in Travis County. And that person, this happens sometimes with Lewis Pratt. This happens sometimes with governments where they assign it to someone else. Typically there's a delay. What actually happened here was this new person decided that a license agreement is not the proper agreement for this particular speed signs. It has agreed that a interlocal agreement would be appropriate and is actively working on a draft that we should have in the next couple of days that will have to go to Commissioner's Court, but also may give us some room to include some of the other things that I've been discussing with Catherine Lewis as far as right away.
Okay, so let me see if I got this right. We were working with somebody. We thought that we were like at the 11th hour, and he says, hey, I'm going to throw this over the fence for somebody to dot the I's and cross the T's. And that person's decided they want to start over from scratch with a brand new type of agreement.
Yeah, that's generally. Yes. But they do appear to be responsive, and I'm hopeful we'll have something very soon.
Okay, okay.
I hope so.
Oh, wow. Agenda item 28, minutes from prior meetings. Okay, I've read them over. Has anybody else read them over? I thought they looked really good.
I'll trust you.
You'll trust me.
I was so busy organizing for this meeting that I didn't look at them. I usually do.
I do too, but
they're in the package, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. They are.
They're in the management report. I'm looking through them now.
Okay, here they are. I'm looking at them too.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from last month.
Okay. I'll go ahead and second that one.
Okay.
Okay, I'll second that one. Okay, do we have any discussion about it?
Nope.
Okay,
Nope.
I'll go ahead and call the vote then. Louis,
Yes.
Jana,
Yes.
Art,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
I vote yes too. Okay. Agenda item 29, adjournment. I need somebody to make a motion to shut this meeting down.
So move.
Okay.
I'll second.
All in favor? Say
Aye.
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 Okay. It was a good meeting, guys.
Thank
Have
you.
a good week, guys.
Yeah.
Mackenzie, call me, let me know. We'll set up a meeting.
Of course, will do. Bye,
Good morning.
guys. Have a
Thank
good
you.
night.
Aye.
Bye.